the Wellness Company. And Dr. Drew, you have something very exciting to talk about today, the medical emergency kit. Tell us a little bit about this.
It is exciting. Look, I have been fighting to try to protect the patient-physician relationship my entire career, and we have lost. I finally decided I need to be involved with people that put the power back in the patient directly. These emergency kits give you everything you need so you don't have to spend $1,200 going to the emergency room. And we have a significant medical team, the medical board at TWC, and we just sat down and put together what we would want for our family, for our patients.
Oh my gosh, so anything that anyone could need is in this
and there's
kit.
a guidebook here to tell you exactly how to use it, and again, telehealth backup.
It's remarkable. It's innovative. Everyone needs to get one. UrgentCareKit.com/sports, promo code sports to get $50 off your kit. That's UrgentCareKit.com/sports, promo code sports.
Prescription required. Always consult your doctor to determine if this product is right for you.
You can pretty much find a job anywhere, but finding a lifelong career can be much more difficult. You like working with your hands? Working in different environments? Having options for different kinds of work within your career? Then the Construction Craft Laborers Union of Missouri may be for you. Don't just settle for a job. Build a career. Build a future. Build a legacy. Go to buildunion.com for more information. That's buildunion.com.
Jamie Rivers here, and let me tell you, when a Hockey Hall of Famer like Chris Chelios puts his name on a tequila, it's not going to be average. El Bandito Yankee is next level. Ultra premium tequila made the right way with 100% Blue Weber agave, all natural, no additives. Just rich, clean flavor and zero burn. Chelly's a legend, and this tequila, same deal. Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo.
Available now at Randall's. Break out the Bandito and learn more at elbanditoyankee.com.
Save big money on your next project at Menards. Gorilla Glue products offer the strength you need. With a variety of adhesives, tapes, glues, and even waterproofing sealants, you can build, create, or repair virtually anything with Gorilla in your toolbox. Check out all our Gorilla products in store and check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, I'm Emily, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company, where a small box with a burgundy bow will help you win the holidays. As an in-house designer, I love creating meaningful, fine jewelry gifts. Choose a necklace with a gorgeous infinity charm to symbolize your everlasting love. Or go for a personalized piece with an engraving, their zodiac sign, favorite color gemstone, or their initial accented with pave diamonds. Because a friend wants you to be a holiday hero. Stop by or shop now at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Are we waiting on your little pill to hit home base?
No, I got a chewable. It works faster.
Oh, so we can get naughtier sooner?
And longer.
Victory Men's Health has launched VictoryRx.com. Get prescribed our #1 ED medication. It has the combined power of Cialis and Viagra in a chewable tablet and better absorption. It's easy. Get a consultation on VictoryRx.com and your ED chewable. VictoryRx.com, where men's sexual health matters.
All right, St. Louis, you know what time it is. Game time. And time to stop by your neighborhood Rocket convenience store. Whether you're heading to the rink and need some gas to get there, or just catching the action with friends at home, make a quick stop at your local Rocket.
Seven o'clock in St. Louis, you are listening to The Morning After on 101 ESPN. The show is presented to you by Brown and Crouppen. Tim McKernan, Martin Kilcoyne with you. Doug Vaughn vacationing in Jackson's parents' place in the Hamptons. And Jackson, I know that it was fun for your family to host Greg Vaughn's wedding this Saturday.
It is really special.
To share the wealth, that's something that I know you believe in, and so to be able to actually execute it, that had to be wonderful.
Yeah, it's really nice, and just to share in that love, that union, that matrimony is really, really special. And what's even more special is when the invoice gets sent over.
Wow.
Well,
heartfelt.
No, I mean, it's like
that was a beautiful tribute.
But the
what?
centerpieces aren't cheap, you know? It's a lot.
They don't pay for themselves?
Yeah, the band. There's a lot of stuff. But it's a very casual invoice, you know? It just kind of gets slipped in your back pocket. And we'll take payment, you know, up to a month.
Oh, you do layaway on these?
Well, yeah, a month. You get a month grace period, and then a guy named Rocco comes and pays a visit.
Wow.
Sounds offensive.
That is offensive.
Way to
and
start
I would
out the
imagine
week.
my wife is immediately going to be texting in, and I look forward to your Twitter apology.
Sorry for employing people, you know. Sorry for stimulating the job market. Hate to do it.
Struck me as anti-Italian American. Did you see it as such? And would you like Jackson to apologize? Text in 314-399-9646. Air Comfort Service text inbox. As the husband of an Italian American, I personally would like to condemn it officially and would like to see a Twitter apology at some point within the next 30 seconds.
You can want that. I refuse to apologize. Again, for stimulating the job market, you know, for creating jobs. I'm a job creator.
Jackson's a job creator. Chairman Kurt is manning the Callinger and Thompson phone lines fresh off of his vacation, which was also at Jackson's parents' place.
Yeah, just wait for that invoice.
In the Hamptons. Yeah. You can call in and talk it over at 314-974-0101. Callier and Thompson phone lines, and talk it over with other friends who have gathered in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. Jackson, they were waiting for you this morning. I hate to tell you that.
I figured as such.
Let's see. What excuse will aggrieved Mizzou fans have today? It was all the refs. That's from Doug's Lil River Birch in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. I want to make sure that we've got, Martin, you love logistics. You love sharing with the audience the behind the scenes of the program. A couple of things. I'll let you speak to the Two-Fox situation with the vehicle. But I want to clarify this on the front end with papers. I was in a group text with Jackson on Friday evening while Missouri was battling SEMO.
Yeah.
And in the group text, you said you went to Columbia for the basketball game, but you were leaving Columbia to get back to St. Louis for the football game. I couldn't tell if you were just running a bluff there, and no. I didn't care enough to engage. What was the truth?
That is accurate.
That you drove down for the basketball game against SEMO, and then the game against number 3 Texas A&M, that wasn't going to do it for you.
Turned rear right back to St. Louis.
Maybe you knew what was coming.
No, that wasn't the case.
The hoop rock was a struggle.
Yeah, good to be close enough to be
close.
Well, it was good. Good seats, man. It was good seats.
You were one of those guys who kicked out the Antlers?
No, I wish.
No! Now he's going after the Italians and the Antlers in the first 5 minutes of the show.
I'll apologize to the Italians. I won't apologize to the Antlers.
Oh, boy.
Unless there's an Italian antler, then I'll apologize to them.
All right, furthering Tim's confusion as to wouldn't you kind of want to go to the old ball game on Saturday, I got a hold of some tickets Saturday, and I thought, I wonder if Papers wants it. He could have them. And he said, I already had plans. That's fine. So he did. The true son did have a chance.
You texted me, and I was in Bachelor, Missouri. I was on 70 eastbound back to St. Louis when you texted me.
Oh, so you spent Friday night in Columbia, and then you came back Saturday. Okay.
Correct.
So as I'm texting you, you want to go to the football game. You were en route home from said Columbia.
Yep.
Wow. So all the traffic's heading westbound, you're heading eastbound.
Oh, I was great. Yeah, I was cooking.
You're a true son heading away from the first time Missouri as a ranked team in November hosts a top 10 opponent dating back to Michael Bishop and the Kansas State Wildcats, ranked number 2 in November of 1998. And you were heading the other way because you had to see the SEMO game. Maybe you could have just stayed at Mark's place and then stuck around for the VMI game yesterday.
I stayed at Mark's place Friday night. He just got a new crib. Really nice.
Nice. Mark must be running a hell of a business down there.
So I wanted to go see his new house, watch the Tiger game, and then I had plans Saturday to watch with some friends here in St. Louis, and I wasn't going to flake on that, so I turned rear and went back home. And at the time, didn't have tickets. So.
What's wrong with the Antlers, huh? That's from Nikolai from St. Chuck. He would like you to...
A little much. Thought it when I was a student.
I think this is something I think this is a putt you're going to want back. I'm just telling you.
It's fine. I've had this take for a long time.
Who are you more anti, the Antlers or Mizzou nationalist accounts on
Mizzou
Twitter?
nationalist accounts on Twitter.
Okay, it's not that
deteriorating the social fiber.
It's not that you're actually wrong. It's just easier to avoid. I think it's what Tim is saying. I think it's just easier to avoid. It's
apparently, I've become aware of this.
Cycling?
Yes!
Bicycling?
Oh, my God.
You just can't.
That was so impressive.
Tantric mind meld.
Tantric mind meld, indeed. See, that's the Irish community working together right there.
We don't knock on doors. We just mind meld over important topics.
Right. That's exactly right. They're very passionate. You understand it. They're right there with the soccer community. You understand it. You just go, okay, they're there. You know they're there. Why poke the beehive? Let's trudge on.
I can coexist happily.
But you went after them. You went after the Italians. That's your own thing.
I never said Antlers first. When they get brought up, I'll share my thoughts, but I'll never just take a stray. I'll never just fire a bullet when not provoked.
And I don't think there's a passionate movement, much like Big Bike is with the Antlers. I'm just saying it's just almost easier just to let it go. But I know what you're saying.
All right. Well, they're ready for the Antlers. They're on alert now.
I don't know what they could be mad at me for. Can you find a bigger Missouri basketball fan? I just don't have to do all the... I'm just going to, like Martin
Did you talk to Coach Gates? Did you tell Coach Gates, I'm here reporting for duty?
I was pretty close, right behind the bench. Yeah, it was good seats.
You NIL funding now?
No, I wish.
I bet you do.
I will. I sit right in front of that student section where everyone was bitching and moaning about those seats. That's where I want to sit.
It goes back to that again. You can call in with your complaints. If you're an Italian-American, we'll move you to the front of the line. If you're an Antler, we'll move you to the front of the line as our attempt to mitigate the disaster created by Jackson Burkett here in the early going of TMA. 314-974-0101. You have the Air Comfort Service text inbox, 314-399-9646. The Michelob Ultra YouTube chat, active as the day is long in the early going. 314-399-9646. Text in or open up the YouTube app, type in TMA STL and subscribe to the channel, and you can join in with Heim Bloom's spreadsheet, TMA remote lamp, John Scores, Donna Mallett's hip hungers, Nipper School Monitor, Lex Luthor, and I'm Dr. Red Duke, a tribute to Doug Vaughn, who is vacationing today after his son's wedding at Jackson's parents' place at the Hamptons, and he will return via private flight. I guess that's something you guys now roll in to the deal from Teterboro. I believe they're flying in from Teterboro today.
Yep. And
it makes it just about an 85-minute flight when you get to fly private from Teterboro into Spirit. So that's what the Vaughn family is doing this morning. Martin, usually Doug handles the Sadie Hawkins. We have reasons for anger from all corners of St. Louis sports today. The Missouri Tigers season coming to an end on Saturday in football, and the Blues enjoying a 6-on-5, as you might remember, was taking place in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and looks like Joel Hofer is going to score a goal. Nay, and then the Kraken, with half a second left, get a goal on a call that still has Blues fans, including our guest at 8:15, Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale, furious with the outcome, and the head coach furious with the outcome on the ruling on interference. That's what we got. Gabe DeArmond at 9 o'clock. What do you got as the lead?
I think the biggest story of the weekend is Eli Drinkwitz, before anyone could say anything, said, I got to do a better job coaching, which sounds like a throwaway line. But then he further deep dived into what happened in the late first half possession that led to the fumble, what they could or should have done, and what happened on the fake punt. He was pretty specific about it. And there was...
So he offered that up on his own.
He said, I got to do a better job coaching. We got to take care of our quarterback, something along those lines. And then it was a follow-up. I don't know if it was Gabe, but who said, when you say I could have done a better job, what do you specifically? And then he went through that late first half possession and explained how Texas A&M had 3 timeouts. And then he said, we were trying to just get a first down. We didn't want to give them the ball back. Anyway, and we can, I'm sure we're going to go deep into this.
Oh, yes, there was an active group text going on when that happened.
But I will say, he said, I got to do a better job. I didn't do a good enough job. But then he went into explaining where they came up short. And then I was preparing to ask, I was going to say, Eli, what would you tell a fan base that's frustrated
not being able to break through against a top opponent, something along those lines. And before that, some young reporter, I don't know who he is, but he said, Eli, how do you explain 0-6 the last 2 years against ranked opponents? And he gave a really short, well, they're good teams.
Jackson, I think you have that at your disposal. Are you ready to go with this?
It was a brief answer, but you could tell he wasn't going to offer much.
Eli, over the past 2 years, Missouri's 0-6 against ranked SEC teams. What's been so difficult about these big games?
Yeah, they're good teams. They're good teams. And I don't do a good enough job coaching.
And that is after. Now, that's later in the sequence where he talked about, I didn't do a good job, and then he broke down the punt, and he broke down the late first half possession. There was a young reporter. Good for him for asking it. I think I would have said.
I agree. I tipped my cap.
No, I'm glad he asked it.
I was operating in the premise, and I was texting Martin 10:15 on Saturday night. I assumed that you were the one asking some of these questions that oftentimes may not get asked. And by the way, this isn't like holding people accountable. The media is in this town soft thing. When you're 21 years old and you're starting out and you got a guy who's making $9-10 million a year and he kind of runs the town, I understand the program. As I've noted before, Norm Stewart made me wet myself in 1998. So I recognize the dynamic. But it was a younger reporter who asked that question.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is if you phrase it just a tick differently, maybe you elicit a better answer. What's so difficult? The coach, he's probably thinking, well, what do you think so difficult? Bama's pretty damn good. Georgia, LSU, Texas A&M, they're all good. They're all good. I think it's okay to phrase it, what's your level of frustration and the fans' frustration that you don't win these big games. The other thing I would say about those who absolutely love Eli Drinkwitz, and he's done a great job creating momentum for the program, I think there is a camp who's saying, well, Jesus, it's Texas A&M. They're third ranked. We got a freshman quarterback. What were you expecting? I don't think this game alone is what was being judged. It was the finality of the three. You had three opportunities, Alabama, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M. It just so happened you didn't get it done in the first two, so it came down to this one last chance to break through, stay alive in the playoff race, and win a signature game. So you can't just throw it away and say, well, A&M was favored. You had a freshman quarterback. Geez, what did you expect? I don't think that's what this is about. It's the culmination, really, of 2 years now, which is what that young reporter, I think, was pointing out, even if it didn't elicit the answer maybe folks wanted to hear.
I could not agree more with you, and if I didn't, I would absolutely, because I actually got in I don't know if I would call it disagreement, but I think when as I said, I rarely get involved in texting when something, because I'm usually watching, number one, but I also know in the case of you're down there covering the game, I'm down there with my wife and two kids.
Saw you guys on the way in.
That's right.
What are the odds of 50,000? The first person I saw.
Especially, it's tough to see me. I'm like a garden gnome. You got to spot me.
I thought it was embarrassing. Your wife was carrying you into the game.
If I had a nickel for every time I thought Tim was a garden gnome.
That was part of the prenup.
Yeah.
You have to carry me. You have to carry me, and I will pursue threesomes until I'm in the ground. That's in the prenup. You can read it. I have counsel available.
Tim's walking with his two kids, and I believe we had some issues. The 2 5, we get into that. I'm sure we had a car accident on the way.
To get a lot of meat on the bone, Jackson. That's why you attacking the Italians screwed everything up.
We could be the target of some venom as well, folks who were headed that way. But I had a rough day, and so then I said to Tim, oh, F this, F or something. And I said, oh, sorry, kids.
Yeah.
And I believe your wife said they've heard worse.
Absolutely. They're listeners of the QFTA podcast. Mm-hmm. And so they're well versed in the F word. We got a lot of meat on the bone here. From my standpoint, there was a moment in that game which led me texting a group chat of my compadres from the University of Missouri Journalism School, which includes the Colonel. Colonel wasn't happy with my text. I will detail that, which also was the same text I exchanged with the TMA group chat. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, a half hour later, I'm like, oh, F this. Doug's about to, have his son get married, and I'm sitting here texting about Missouri football.
No, your priorities are right.
They got that, got all kinds of sound. Of course, the blues thing to finish off the evening was an absolute debacle as well. Chris Kerber, 8:15. Gabe DeArmond, 9 o'clock, brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. And then, Martin, if you thought my field goal kicker in the SEC spreadsheet 2 weeks ago was pathetic, I think I might have superseded that yesterday afternoon with what I spent my time doing. But when I got done with the project, I think I have some numbers that, as Jackson said in our group chat, wow, that's damning on the Missouri coaching situation. And I believe it's only been posted. I posted it on the TMA fan page. I don't know if it's been copied and pasted elsewhere. I mean, it's just numbers. It's not an opinion. So that is about to be shared here on this program.
It's the exact definition of a deep dive. It's also why kids sometimes are lonely on Sundays, because Daddy did a deep dive.
My mother-in-law wanted to spend time with the boys.
Oh, okay.
The house was all quiet. And I go, you know what? I've seen some of these numbers being spun a certain way. Let's just go into the numbers and then compare every other program in the SEC and see what the numbers tell us. And I've got that for you coming up. And you can form your own opinion once you get these numbers, because you're about to get them. The program presented to you by Brown & Crouppen. Online at brownandcrouppen.com or by calling 314-222-2222. That's brownandcrouppen.com. Terry Crouppen, Andy Crouppen, and Ed Herman. One of them is in every Tuesday, and they're able to come in studio here on The Morning After because they are local. And if you're in a spot where you need a personal injury attorney, wouldn't you want somebody who is local? Brown & Crouppen is local through and through. Building new offices on the Hill just a couple of years ago. Founded in St. Louis in 1979. And they know the community and the legal environment. If you think you may need Brown & Crouppen services, call 314-222-2222 or go to brownandcrouppen.com. Make sure you let them know you heard about them on TMA. Remember, the choice of an attorney is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. The program's The Morning After. It's presented to you by Brown & Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel. Were you playing this all Saturday night, Jackson?
It was like a slow death, you know.
And you were out with friends, right? That's harder. You can't
Wheelhouse bottle service?
No.
Did they have a bathtub where you were that you could crawl into?
No, but a nice patio where no one was at to kind of
scream,
kind of just wallow in it.
This was Dee's place?
Yeah.
It's producer Joe's old haunt, Martin.
It's a great spot.
I was trying to coach you guys up. I kept saying, well, there's still time. I want Mizzou to win. I'm not as emotionally invested as you guys are. And I honestly thought, well, you never know. I've kind of pulled the old Doug Vaughn. Well, there's still time.
You should have seen me after that fake punt. Despondent. That was the biggest backbreaker I've seen in a long time.
I'm going to respectfully disagree with you because I want to lay out something that I do not feel like is getting near enough attention, but at the same time, with our industry shrinking like a grandparent, there are only so many outlets at this point, and so there aren't many places that you're going to get coverage in 2025. It's just the nature of the beast. But Missouri's decision with a quarterback who had 31 passing yards, and they all came almost on one play to Donovan Alugbade, who was hurt. They kept showing close-ups of his hand on the sideline. And your backup is a guy who was at Middle Tennessee State somehow 2 months ago, but was back in Columbia after leaving Columbia in April. So you are all in with Matt Zollers. My hope was that he would be a wizard. It wasn't there. Also, in fairness, on the strip sack, he got hurt, and he was not the same guy. Now, whether or not he would have been great with being healthy, I have no idea, but obviously he was not. So it's 3rd and 10. Minute left. A&M has 2 timeouts left. It's a 7-0 game by the grace of Yahweh himself. And Missouri's getting the ball back at the start of the second half. And I'm in the stands. I'm going, okay. Sitting there with my family going, all right, this is going to be like the Alabama game. Missouri should be losing by more, but here they are. They're going to be down 7 going into the half. Okay. Who knows? And unlike the Alabama game, where Alabama got the ball first, it's just that Ty Simpson fumbled on the first play from scrimmage, Missouri was getting the ball back. So you go into the half down 7-0. And it's not like A&M was some impressive machine. They were just kind of doing it with dink and dunk, which I don't know why Missouri wasn't doing, but nonetheless, that's what they were able to do. Not having Le'Veon Moss was certainly impacting A&M's offense, and Missouri's defense is actually an elite defense. So it's 7-0. On 3rd and 10, you're 58 yards away from the end zone with a quarterback who A, is hurt, and B, has 31 yards passing through the first 29 minutes of the ball game. You run the ball, not because got to run the ball more. You run the ball to make A&M use a timeout. They'll have 1 timeout left and have about 40 seconds to try to traverse, most likely about 45 yards at best, for Randy Bond to go out there and have a field goal attempt. An A&M offense that hadn't been doing much against a Missouri defense with 1 timeout and 40 seconds. And instead, something that it was the moment in the football game. I don't think that that's really disputed. Missouri, Eli Drinkwitz, you see this Kirby Moore thing where it's all his fault. Well, he has a boss, just like John Mozeliak has a boss. He decides to throw the ball with a guy who, A, is hurt, if you want to focus on the true freshman thing, B, a true freshman, and C, with an offense that hasn't moved the ball through the air anyway, and D, with a kicker who either has been replaced or, if you're going to go with a guy who hasn't kicked before, hadn't kicked a ball for Missouri yet. That's the business model. There's one thing if you're out-talented. That's fine. That's part of the deal. It's another thing if you conduct a kamikaze mission, and that's what Missouri did. They dropped back Zollers. Texas A&M on a slow-developing play. In addition, Texas A&M gets to him. He fumbles. They run it back for a near touchdown. It's only to the 2-yard line. They eventually get in, and at that point, that'll wrap her up at 14-0, and you know it. And it's a self-inflicted wound. I could not believe that they chose to do that. That's not about A&M's talent. That's not about Missouri's talent. That's a coaching decision. And how that goes on is beyond me. To encapsulate it against the Alabama game, what were we talking about following the Alabama game? Why didn't you run Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts, for that matter, but run it more with those guys? What happened there? Don't have an answer. Well, you know, we thought we got it to him plenty. Okay? And then when you go back, you see plenty of, and I rewatched that game, plenty of opportunities where they could have run it more. Against Vanderbilt, what were the issues? What the hell was Missouri doing on the goal line with the goofball plays at the goal line against Vanderbilt in a game that they really actually should have won? So here we are against Texas A&M, and you have it happen again. Now, Martin, you were there. Eli Drinkwitz was asked about that specific moment. Jackson, here's what he had to say.
Eli, and you're right. When at the end of the half, what did you want to try to establish going into that, and did that change through the sequence?
Yeah, I mean, we were trying just to make sure they had 3 timeouts, so we wanted to get the first down, and then once we got the first down, we tried to see if we get points. When it got to 3rd and 9 right there, you know, we tried to go to a max protection flood concept, but you know, ultimately they had a blitz on and they were able to swing the mic to the field and ultimately had a free hitter. So that's my fault. It's poor scheme. I gave the okay to try to get the first down there, and I should have said to throw a screen instead.
And Vahe Gregorian asked the question, and then in his column he said, in a strategy that was somewhere between conflicted and curious, which was a great way to sum up, because clearly when they were pinned deep, when they got the ball at the 17, they were just going to run it and just try and burn timeouts on A&M just the best you can, choose some clock. They get helped by a penalty. Roberts has a 16-yard run. Now you're at the 42, but it's still about a minute to go. Realistically there, what are you going to get done? Just being realistic with the way Zoller, he looked bad, and your offense was bad. I think even then, you're at the 42. You don't really have any confidence anybody's going to...
3rd and 10. See, that's the key.
I'm saying even at first and 10, I'm kind of debating, do I just run it 3 times, just get to even though people might boo and say, oh, boring. I'm still, as a coach, thinking...
getting the football back at the start of the second half, and my defense is incredible.
Right, so before I even get to 3rd and 10, I think 1st, 2nd, I'm probably running there. And if somebody breaks one off, great, but I'm more likely going to just get to the half. But when they go incomplete 1st and 2nd down, now you're at 3rd, that's when you really say, all right, screw it. We tried, a couple of attempts, we ain't moving the ball, the kid's struggling. Then on 3rd down, screw it. I would have said maybe even 1st and 2nd down, run it, just get the timeouts burned, get to the half.
Because the quarterback is hurt. I mean, that was something that was aware, you know, for the coaching staff. It was aware for the viewers. They kept showing his hand. It was red. He had gotten hurt on the strip sack, but they're going to keep him in there because you don't have an alternative at that point. In addition, you don't have a reliable field goal kicker, so it wasn't like you get 25 yards and you've got a field goal kicker. You don't have what A&M has. You know, I think Randy Bond's a grad student at this point, and he can kick it. So what in the hell was the logic? And that frustrates the hell out of me. Now, I would imagine that there are people going, it didn't matter. They lost 38-17. And I understand that thought process. I'm not going to dismiss it out of hand. But games take on a script based on the outcome of the previous plays. And Missouri had to go balls to the wall in the second half defensively, and that's where A&M got them when they went 0 blitz on one of the touchdowns, and to Mike Elko's credit, when he sensed the momentum was going the other way, the fake punt. But a 7-0 game at the half with that game script from a game control standpoint is a hell of a lot different than 14-0, and that was a self-inflicted wound. And so it then calls to my attention as a big college football fan, as a Missouri fan, but somebody who, you know, has pissed off Missouri fans, but also has Missouri fan support at times. It doesn't matter. It's kind of like I want to piss off liberals and conservatives because then I feel like I'm doing my job by saying what I see. But you got to back it up with data. And so yesterday afternoon, and yet a pathetic exercise, I went back because I feel like there's some spin on the numbers of Missouri's record. You'll whether it hears about, oh, it's tough for everybody against top 10 teams, or you hear about, oh, well, they beat Ohio State. That's fine. Ohio State trotted out the second string and third string quarterback, and Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't play in that bowl game. And if you think, as Charlie Marlowe, an Ohio State fan, said when he was in studio with us on Friday, that Ohio State was treating that with the same intensity that they were the Michigan game a month earlier, then you're welcome to that feeling. But here is actual data. This is not opinion. This is SEC schools records from 2020, Eli Drinkwitz's first year, through 2025, their record against teams with winning conference records. So that would mean finishing 5-3 or better. The best, Alabama, 14-4. They've won 78% of their games. That is through today, so including 2025 teams with a winning record in the SEC. Then Georgia, 11-7. Texas A&M, 6-8. Ole Miss, 4-10, 29% winning percentage. LSU, 5-16. South Carolina, 4-15. Tennessee, 4-16. Florida, 4-17. Auburn, 2-18. Kentucky, 1-16. Arkansas, 1-21. Vanderbilt, 1-18. Mississippi State, 1-22. The University of Missouri, 0-15. It's a fact. If you want to say, well, he started to turn things around in 2023, no problem. Let's look at 2023 through 2025. Alabama, 9-1. Georgia, 6-4. Texas, when they entered 2 years ago, 3-2. Ole Miss, 4-4. A&M, 2-5 for a 40% winning percentage. LSU, 3-8 for a 27% winning percentage. Florida for a 25% winning percentage. South Carolina, 2-9. Tennessee, 1-7. Oklahoma, 1-6. Auburn, 1-10. Kentucky, 1-10. Vanderbilt, 1-10. Arkansas, 1-11. Missouri, 0-8. Mississippi State, 0-12. There are only 2 coaches in the SEC since 2020 who have coached full seasons as full-time employees at their universities who are 0 against conference teams that finish with a winning record. One is Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State. He is 0-9. The other is Eli Drinkwitz, who is 0-15. For the record, the best winning percentage from 2020 through 2025 is Kalen DeBoer, who is 6-1. Next is Nick Saban, 73%. Kirby Smart, 61%. There is the information.
Damning, as Paper said on the group text. And I think that's the issue for Mizzou fans. It's not just this game. So people who say, oh, it's a freshman quarterback, it's A&M. It's an indictment overall that they just haven't gotten over the hump. And Drinkwitz recruits well, he fundraises well, but there have been in-game moments. The K-State game, if Mevis doesn't kick that 60-whatever yarder it was, which was a turning point for this program, there was a delay game right before that. Like, what are we doing?
Too many men on the field.
And I think there are coaching instances, game day, that you can point to, and this is going on for several years now. In spite of the momentum, in spite of the excitement, the game day atmosphere, it's great. People are excited, they go, but at some point you got to win the big game, and in those games, would they have won if they'd gotten to halftime down 7-zip? I don't know, but your job there is to give them the best chance possible to maybe, who knows, with the freshman quarterback, who knows, maybe you stun the world. I didn't understand. They just had Zollers just chucking it deep, and maybe that's his strength, but why not go over the middle every once in a while? Why
One time, and it was Kevin Coleman over the middle in the second half, and I guess he heard footsteps. I don't know, but that was it. One time.
I thought game plan-wise, and we've all watched a lot of football, we haven't stood in the pocket, but I think help the kid a little bit, get him into some kind of rhythm, which they never did. Now, he was off. His passes were off in the first half. But
he was throwing the ball 100 miles an hour on short passes.
He was very excited, you could tell. But maybe some easy, safe stuff over the middle. It looked like A&M just lived in the middle of the Tigers' defense. That I didn't understand. But the overall indictment is, you're 1-10 against the top 10. Okay, it's hard. Your numbers point. You're going to break through and win one of those. You're supposed to. So all of the wins, in fact, one of their top 25 wins, I looked at some of this. I didn't do quite the deep dive. Do you remember the Boston College win?
Yes.
Was a ranked win
yes.
at the time. So I think it's true. And I think Eli Drinkwitz, when a lot of coaches say, oh, that's on me, they don't really mean it's just kind of hollow. I think he took that one hard. I think he was sincere when he was saying, like, he kind of knew we just didn't get it. Season's over. Third straight year where there was at least hope that you might be in the mix for something bigger, and third straight year that you didn't get it done. That's what it's a big picture resolution Saturday as opposed to just that game.
Your thoughts on the topic are welcome at 314-399-9646. Air Comfort Service text inbox. That is how you can text in to the program. And you can also talk it over with other TMA listeners at youtube.com/TMASTL. And youtube.com/TMASTL is where you can talk it over in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. Michelob Ultra, 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbohydrates. Long-time sponsor here on The Morning After. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. And even though it is freezing today, it is going to be beautiful somehow in the 70s on Friday. So, Jackson, that'll lift your spirits, all right? It's going to be 70. You're going to be compressing the ball on Friday.
That sounds great.
All right.
That sounds just lovely.
It is Michelob Ultra, sponsor of the YouTube chat. Only worth it if you enjoy it. On the itinerary today, we will be joined by Chris Kerber. The Stiefel dossier has him at 8:15. Gabe DeArmond at 9 o'clock. The program's called TMA 101 ESPN. Michael's Flooring, family and locally owned for over 30 years. Michael takes pride in helping and making sure that his employees are happy and make a great living. You can go online and right now get 3 samples free from Proximity Mills by going to Michael's Flooring's website at igotfloored.com. Michael's passion is flooring, and when you order from him, he wants you to have the best experience for the best price. That's why he's making sure he gets the best installers and giving them $7 a square yard, which is incredible compensation in the carpet installation industry. Just come in or talk to them, and you're going to see the difference. They want to make sure they suggest the best thing for you, not pushing what corporate's telling them they have too much of. There is a reason that Michael's has continued to grow through the 31 years. Employees love working for him as they feel like family, and he makes sure they're taken care of, and this then rubs off to the families buying the product as they know they have the best interests of the buyers. They have it all, but carpet is awesome, and it's back. They have so many varieties of all flooring, and they have 3 easy-to-get-to locations in St. Louis. They're in Creve Coeur, Darden Prairie, and St. Peter's. Come see why people are loving it in Floored by Michael, and make sure you visit igotfloored.com.
This is Jackson with the Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues lose on Saturday 4-3 in overtime to the Seattle Kraken. Off today, back in action tomorrow as the Blues take on the Flames. Pre-game at 6 p.m., puck drop at 7 p.m. right here on 101 ESPN. That was another Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at Londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Oh, no, not again.
Come on, Papers. Come on. You're going to be fine.
It's tough.
It's going to be fine. What if they'd lost to SEMO and then the...
Yeah, how would you be handling that?
Well.
And we love the Red Hawks, formerly the Indians.
But they won.
SEMO, I know.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, what would that have been like?
Guess we'll never know.
If you guys are a little discouraged, let me just tell you, it was good to be at Faroe Field on Saturday, and in the halftime food line in the old press box, I saw a guy wearing a blazer, and it's got a big logo that says Tax Slayer Gator Bowl.
Oh, nice.
Check it out. Do you think you want to see if A&M maybe slides a little bit? The Gator Bowl was in that. It actually would probably be a good gig. He just flies around. Looks to be a younger guy. Yes. Like just sit in a press box, couple of notes, couple of free meals. I'm not sure. He didn't look like he had a notepad. Just taking it all in.
I think it might be the greatest gig of all time.
Just travel around.
Representative?
Being a bowl representative where you're, what do you mean scouting the team? Like they play on national television.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's just merely like an ambassador. And you go up to Laird Veach, like, whoa, get away from me. Like, hey, we're interested. No.
It's the Grim Reaper coming to the door.
Bigger plans.
The program is called The Morning After. It's presented by Brown and Crouppen. Tim McKernan, Martin Kilcoyne with you. Doug Vaughn vacationing in the Hamptons. He will be back tomorrow. Little Jackie Papers is on the ones and the twos. Chairman Kurt manning the Callier and Thompson phone lines, 314-974-0101. And you can email in for our Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day, the morning after, at InsideSTL.com. Design Air, sponsor of our email of the day, online at designairservice.com. Martin, they're coming to your house here on Friday.
Friday, getting a new HVAC unit.
Yep.
I didn't know they were going to maybe give them away free one day and email in. But yeah, looking forward to that.
It's designairservice.com with Seth Goldcamp and his team, the longest running sponsor on TMA. And we are grateful for their support. Martin, Doug, and I are all clients of Design Air Heating and Cooling, and we recommend you become one as well. Make sure your furnace is tuned up. If it's not working today, wow, you are dealing with it because it is cold in St. Louis. It is brutal. 25 degrees, feels like 11 with the wind chill because the winds are whipping through the St. Louis metropolitan area. Support the sponsors, Design Air Heating and Cooling, online at designairservice.com. Chris Kerber is going to be with us at 8:15. Gabe DeArmond at 9 o'clock. Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day at 10:45. There is your Stiefel dossier. In addition to the Missouri loss on Saturday, you also had the Blues on the precipice of winning back-to-back games, and then the old 6-on-5, how do you do, happened. But the focal point for Blues fans isn't necessarily the 6-on-5 so much as interference that both Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale on the broadcast, which I was listening to as driving home from Columbia, thought was going to be called, goal overturned, Blues pick up 2 points. That'll wrap her on up. Take a listen.
Stevenson wins it. Montour under 10 to the middle. Off Hofer to the far wing it goes. They come back to Stevenson. He shoots. They've scored. The puck deflects in. The Kraken have tied it up with just about a second on the clock. And we're tied 3-3.
I think the clock actually said 0.5.
Yeah.
So we have a worse in terms of clock ending than 1.6. Now we're down to 0.5, the old 6-on-5. However, the Kraken player in front, I think it was Eberle, he was, if you watch it slowly, which I'm sure a lot of folks did see replay after replay, his skate is clearly pushing Hofer's stick, which I would think is textbook interference. The Blues seem mystified. Now, still, again, you'd like with 6-5 not have all this drama all the time. And I heard Montgomery say, I want to know if there's a goalie in that room, like the NHL room, where they're studying the plays, deciding whether they're going to overturn it or not. And it's also Jordan Kyrou. I mean, I'm not feeling sorry for a guy making $8 or $9 million. He was about to be one of the heroes of the night. I mean, he gets the goal to put him ahead 3-2. He'd been benched the game before. Wouldn't that have been a great storyline? And instead, it's almost not pointless, but it's certainly buried because of the last-second goal, which has been an issue for the Blues, and then maybe the league doesn't always get calls right. There is a lot of confusion with NHL calls.
Joey and Kerbs thought for sure that they were going to see this goal overturned. Here is the discussion.
At this point in time, and it's important, this was a league-initiated review here, which means if they do determine that it is a goal, there's no penalty to the St. Louis Blues. The Blues didn't ask for it, so with there being no penalty to the St. Louis Blues, if the game did go to overtime, then the Blues would not be shorthanded.
Well, I mean, this is the game right now. I mean,
absolutely.
If this gets called back, it's Blues victory. There's not enough time left. This is goaltender interference.
I think that it hits all the check box. It checks all the boxes.
It does. He initiates contact in the blue paint. You cannot do that. He was not pushed out. This, to me, shouldn't take that long. I mean, they want to take their time with it because, again, this is a matter of points per team. Huge. This call alone, it's 0.5 still on the clock.
So when we go, Joe, and you've talked to different guys with the league, when you check the boxes, you go look at where they are in the crease. If they win it on their own, he did, and then where's the contact?
That's right. That's right. That's what we're looking for right there. The left skate, I mean, he ties up Hofer's stick. That's what I want to see right there. Yes. And it gets right behind the stick, Kerbs.
And the referees and notice where that is. That is in the crease.
Yeah, this is no goal. This is Blues victory, I think, here.
Upon further video review, the call on the ice stands. We have a goal.
Oh, wow. Wow, I can't believe that. I stand corrected.
Brutal. Jim Montgomery Martin, not happy. Take a listen to the Blues head coach.
We were certain on the bench that we were going to win the game because the criteria for goalie interference is first the player has to be in the blue paint. Then he has to impede the goalie from playing his position. His left skate hits our goalie's stick, and when he hits his goalie's stick, his arm has to come in. He cannot use his blocker because of Eberle's foot hitting his stick and turning his arm in. The puck goes in on the blocker side. So we understand we'll get a ruling from the league on it. But for us, it meets all the criteria for goalie interference. If it was not, if this was at 5-minute mark, we would have challenged it. That's how certain we were.
There you go. Jim Montgomery, not a fan.
Maybe we'll get an update or a ruling from the league. I know the NHL puts out on Twitter like the exact explanation, but I think he's looking for further explanation. They would have been celebrating a third win in 4 games. They would have had 3 out of 4 at that point. They have played better. They did go back to Hofer after getting the shutout in Buffalo. I like that. The coaches used to always do that. Even if the plan was, hey, it's Bennington's game Saturday. If you pitch a shutout, you play the next game. And that's what Montgomery did with Hofer, who has played better. Blues are in the middle of a 4-game homestand here. So, again, at some point, if you can get some wins stacked on top of each other, you could get a little momentum because you did have the great game Thursday in Buffalo. You're up 2-0 now. The 2-0. What, Doug? Doug's not here. What is it, Tim? He says
it's a worst goal lead in hockey, Martin.
2-0. They did have a 2-0 lead and gave it back, but still, Cairo gets the goal, and all of a sudden, maybe he's going to be the hero Saturday night. So that was deflating, but they still have played better of late. I know that's a low bar right now.
They are handling this so poorly. Remember the hand pass game? Chief told the guys, it's done. Can't do anything about it. Get over it. That's from the 3-1-4. Yes, that is accurate. And then the Blues came out in the ensuing Game 4 and put it on the Sharks. And to the point that they, I think they had a shell of a team by the time they came back to St. Louis for Game 6. In the Blues case, their response was to not have the puck on their sticks for a second in the overtime. Seattle had it the entirety of the overtime period before scoring, and Seattle goes from picking up no points and the Blues picking up 2 points to picking up 2 and the Blues picking up 1.
I think the playoffs, it's different, where Berube's got, he knows the urgency of a series. You cannot wallow there. I think this is a little different. You're kind of shell-shocked and complain about it. Now, by the time they're on the ice today, play tomorrow, they're not going to still be talking about it, I don't think. Although today, Monty will probably get some questions. Hey, have you heard from the league? That sort of thing. But I think it's a little different. When you're in the middle of that playoff series, Berube knows we cannot get stuck on this because the game's over. We got to move on.
Blues now through 16 games at 5-8-3, 13 points, which is last in the Central. And so now the team has to try to get that point that they lost on Saturday night back, in addition to another one playing the team that is actually beneath them, the only team that is beneath them in the NHL, the Calgary Flames, the team that they beat out for the postseason with the tiebreaker of wins in regulation. And when you lose, and yeah, you pick up a point, but you don't get that win in regulation, that further compounds the issues to the slow start to the season through 16 games. Tim McKernan, Martin Kilcoyne, Jackson Burkett, Chairman Kurt with you. The program is called TMA. It's 101 ESPN and the TMA STL.
Depressing sports weekend around here. Maybe you should just head to the Village Bar, have a nice lunch. That'll warm you up. Always cozy inside Village Bar. Watch the Packers and Eagles Monday Night Football tonight. Going to be chilly at Lambeau Field. Village Bar, just a great place to hang out. The games are always on. Order a cheeseburger. I get a chef salad. I know people don't believe it, but the fries are famous. The waffle salad and waffle fries. There's a very conflicted. What did Vaughn say about the Mizzou offense there? Is curious and conflicted. Order both. Throw people for a loop. But on top of the great food and atmosphere at Village Bar is the 1879 Distilling that's out back. That's inside the barn, the historic barn out back. That is home to 1879 Distilling, where they're making the small batch premium liquors like Red Barn vodka. There are 6 different flavors of vodka. 1879 rye, 1879 bourbon. There is a difference when you order a drink. Make sure you get what you want inside that drink, which is 1879 Distilling. Starting to pop up around town, winning awards throughout the region. It makes a difference. Taste it for yourself in your next stop at the Village Bar. It's 1879 Distilling, St. Louis, Missouri.
Martin, we got to do something to lift this guy's spirits.
I see you in an empty apartment, nothing in it but a record player. And you're up against a wall, and on the other side of the room is the record player just playing sad songs.
Stale cigarette smoke.
Just staring into
fills
space.
the room.
What about the win against VMI?
Against the Keydets? Yeah, look good.
Keydets. First ever meeting between VMI.
Hope it's not the last.
Amen.
Freshman football coach, CBC, the great Pat Patton. Mr. Patton, they called him Colonel. Freshman football, he liked to drag us around, Tim, by our face mask. We would have been the lead story in 2025. Somebody said, why do you don't seem to really enjoy football? I said, well, I don't really like getting pulled around by my face mask. Kind of hurts your neck a little bit.
Sure.
The great Pat Patton. VMI grad.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where the connection was there.
I apologize. I apologize. No, he was a VM. He would always talk about Virginia military.
But that's not like a service academy, right? They're not like.
I'm not sure what the distinction is.
Okay.
Hey, Virgin!
Yo.
You don't have the right to be upset at Mizzou football, especially when you had the chance to be there. And yes, that was my reply to your pathetic ass attending SEMO basketball game and skipping a football game. I'm siloing you for your lack of loyalty. That's from the Warson Woods wacko who's furious that you drove to Columbia for the basketball game on Friday night and then drove home for the football game.
It is an awkward spot where I'm at, where I do often have to think my weekend plans through to how will I explain this on the radio on Mondays, which is I don't think a lot of people have to deal with, but it's my cross to bear.
Yeah, my approach has been I'm actually divorced 9 times and hang out at a wide variety of bars near Pizza Go-Go, and I just kind of make my rounds there. I enjoy Babes. I enjoy Musers. Those are my haunts.
Sure.
And then I'll wash it down with a slice from Pizza Go-Go. And then I come on the air and go, I'm just a family guy with a wife and 2 kids. I haven't been married in 3 years. Yeah. I don't even know if I can get a woman pregnant. Hell, I can barely get erect.
Yeah.
So how in the hell? So my excuses, I just make up a family.
Sure.
That's what you need to do.
Yeah, and these spreadsheets, they really throw people off the scent as well. This is what I do.
Tim, all you need is a dog named Dixie.
That's right.
Complete the lie.
The cat, are you tickling me?
So Saturday was a rough go for Mizzou fans. The old 2 Fox was rolling down early. We were trying to get there a little early. Lensman Jake was going to meet us later, so my colleague and I are rolling down, and we're on that 64 past Lake St. Louis, just about to the 70 exchange there. And I was the passenger, and I saw the red lights of the brake. And I could see it happening. Quick, stop. And my colleague was on the brakes, wasn't distracted, and just tried to stop fast enough. It did not. We plowed into the car in front of us. I had my seatbelt on. We both did. My head hit like the visor in front of me, but nothing, no scratches. I still said, I'm fine. People are like, you might have whiplash and you don't know it. But it was, terribly sad for the people in front of us because there was damage to their car. They had a new car. The woman in front of them got out. She was very polite. She said, I'm sorry. I had to stop. It was quick, but she didn't get hit. All of it upsetting for everyone involved. And all I could think of was, oh, God, we're the cause of the traffic jam. And then Tim sends me a text. And then other people I know are like, is that you in there? I'm like, I just sat in the passenger seat waiting till it was all sorted out. It was quite the delay. And as I texted you, somebody took a picture on one of the police scanner website sites. And I said to you, you never want to be the news. And we were definitely, so if you got stuck in traffic, my colleague did the best he could, and it was a mess. And then later, I'm getting a ride with the state trooper. They take us up to the Quick Trip to get off the highway. And I'm carrying all my stuff. I'm standing on the side of the highway. Not that I'm recognizable or anything, but I thought all I need is one person to snipe a shot at me getting into the trooper's vehicle. And he said, you want me to put the cuffs on? This guy had a good sense of humor. He actually went to high school and he's friends with TJ Moe. But he gives me a ride up to the, and he's over the accident. He said it's a dangerous stretch. We see it all the time. I'm still kind of stewing that it happened. And God bless me, he goes, what do you think today? Can Mizzou get it done? So we able to switch into game mode, but frustrating day. And then I saw Tim walking into the game, and I was like, oh, F, it's this day. So luckily nobody was injured. That's the number one thing. But it's a mess out there. It really is.
Yes, 64 and 70, that interchange that many people take, probably plenty do daily for their commutes, and then certainly even more when Missouri has a football game or, of course, a Friday night basketball game against SEMO. And it's traffic anyway. So when we hit it, I'm just kind of like, all right, this is the deal. No big deal. We're making good time. And then we see that there's actually an accident. I'm going, holy crap. And then I see it's a 2-Fox vehicle. And I said to my wife, my made-up wife, I said, I think that could be Martin. I didn't see you. I'm just thinking, what are the chances? Because I knew you were going to the game. And she goes, maybe we should turn around and help him out. I said, no.
Come on, keep your eye on the ball. Jesus, woman.
We got to get down there.
We got a game to get to.
We got to go get down there to go to.
I'm in a neck brace on the Tim's like, hey, well, I'll see you Monday.
It's fine. Jackson and I will just reconvene balloon party for 4 hours. We know Doug's at Jackson's parents' place. It'll be fine. So Anna Marie was actually the one, because I'm driving, texting you to see if there was something that we could do, and you said, no, it's fine. And then we're walking into Faroe Field. I don't know, how'd you teleport down there to get there at the same time we did when you were on the side of the road in an accident?
So nephew Brendan took the tickets, and I was offering papers, and so I was trying to, this friend of mine says, I got 4 if you want them. I wasn't asking anybody for tickets. So on Saturday, the great Robert Griggs, big Mizzou backer, we become friends, and I said, hey, I'll swing by and say hi, and he said, hey, I'm not going, I'm out of town, you want the tickets? So I thought, to be fair, because Brendan, my nephew, goes to all these Mizzou games, I'm like, he's the kid, he'll pack up and go. I'm like, if you're married with kids, you're probably not last second. This is at 10:30. So I'm like, well, papers maybe would go. Said, sorry, I already had plans. So now Brendan's like, I'll take them, you bet I'm there. So I'm thinking as I'm sitting there, what am I going to do? The car is clearly totaled. And I told my colleague, you just go home. We're good. I'll find a way. And I'm like, neighbor Brendan. So I rolled down with some 22-year-olds down to Faroe Field. And I said, you got great seats. I got you the hookup. All I'm going to ask is when we get there, just drop me by the stadium because I got to get in. I got to get credentialed and whatever. So I'm running to the stadium trying to find entrance 5W. And it's just a wall of people. Everyone's wearing black. And it's a great atmosphere. And I see Tim and Anne Marie, and the kids, the first people I saw arrive. It's unbelievable, walking into the game. So a rough start to the day, and then it got worse. So,
and then as we're exiting, and this is what St. Louis has been dealing with. It just headed west. I was telling Chairman Kurt this because he wound up going to the game as well. Right as the game was ending, a windstorm kicked up that had it arrived a couple hours earlier. I'm not saying it would have been good for one team and bad for another, but it would have materially altered the game. It was unbelievable. And if you're in the St. Louis area, which I know the vast majority of people listening are, you've experienced it. But that's what came through Columbia right as the game was ending. And my 3-year-old, who lives with this Missouri hat on and has for the last 4 weeks, ever since going to his first game against Roll Tide, the wind blew the hat off. It's flying towards South Columbia. And we were able to track it down otherwise because we had to walk basically to Jesse Hall.
Ooh.
Yeah, with a 3-year-old and whipping winds and an 8-year-old and my wife. And I just sat there and waited outside the stadium while she got the car and carried the kids. I mean, what am I going to do?
You sat there.
I'm a radio star. I said, you get the car, woman. And I went to private school. So that's the way I was raised, and I hope you can take some lessons from that as well. Chris Kerber is going to give us his thoughts on the debacle on Saturday night. 314-399-9646 is how you can text in on the program. It's the Air Comfort Service text inbox. Then you can talk it over with other TMA listeners in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat, youtube.com/TMASTL. 253 friends have already gathered in there, and you're welcome to call in and talk it over with Chairman Kurt. 314-974-0101. Chris Kerber on the Stiefel dossier next. Gabe DeArmond joining us at 9 o'clock, presented to you by James Carlton. And if you miss anything, go back and podcast like the Dickens via Jason Gosrow and Schaefer Door Company's podcast app. Schaefer Door, a long-time TMA sponsor, and Jason Gosrow, a longtime TMA listener. Grateful for his support. We ask you support the sponsors. When the weather cools down, that's when garage doors can break, and that's when you can work with Schaefer Door Company. SCHAEFER door.com. Call or text a number they set up specifically for TMA listeners, 636-782-3608. If your garage door broke over the weekend, they set aside times on Monday mornings to fix the doors that break over the weekend, so you are in luck. They will be out there very quickly. 636-782-3608, or go online at schaeferdoor.com, SCHAEFER door.com. They service commercial doors as well, so if you run a business or warehouse with big, tall doors, Schaefer is experienced in these types of jobs as well. Go to schaeferdoor.com or call or text 636-782-3608. Schaefer Door, a CHI overhead door dealer. The program is called The Morning After. It's presented by Brown and Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel.
Hey, Chris Kerber with you here on a Monday morning. And, folks, it's that time of the year. You can feel the weather going. It's turning. We're not going to warm up very much. Make sure that furnace is ready to go. Now, Classic Air Care wants to remind you that the easiest way to make sure that your unit is running efficiently at home is to just change that air filter on a regular basis and to make it easy on you. Because at the top of their website in the upper right-hand corner at classicaircare.com, you can see a link that just says buy filters. They'll deliver them straight to your house, and that way you'll know to put them in. But the other thing you got to do is just make sure it's maintained. It's like a car. It's like anything else. You want to extend the life. You want to make sure that it's running efficiently. You want to make sure that you're going to deal with as little breakdowns as possible. You get it maintained. They've got maintenance plans that'll get you priority scheduling. But even if you don't do a maintenance plan, just have them come out to the house and make sure you're ready for the winter. That's what they do at my house. It's Classic Air Care. They've got a 4.8 Google rating for a reason. That's because they care about the customer service that they deliver. They take pride in it, and it is their number one priority. So it's Classic Air Care. They've been making people comfortable since 1926.
It's TMA 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Martin Kilcoyne with you. Doug Vaughn vacationing in the Hamptons today. Jackson Burkett is on the ones and twos. And if you want to call in, you can talk it over with Chairman Kern and the Collier and Thompson phone lines. Joining us for his weekly appearance at 8:15 on the morning after. Here on 101 ESPN and the TMA STL YouTube channel is the voice of the Blues, Chris Kerber. Morning, Kerbs.
Morning, Tim. How are you?
I am wonderful. I was listening to you and Joey on Saturday night as I was driving back from Columbia and heard the whole discussion leading into the ruling from Toronto, and you and Jim Montgomery, and I think plenty of people around the game were very surprised on what you heard. What was your reaction, and have you learned any more whatsoever since the ruling on Saturday night?
I haven't learned any more. What it has is just confirmed to me that the National Hockey League doesn't know what goaltender interference is. And what they've done over the years is just an extraordinarily poor job of trying to find some level of consistency that they just cannot find. And I think actually, now you got really smart hockey people that deal with this, right? You got all the general managers that really control this stuff. And the reality of it is either the way the rule is defined, the way the rule is written, or maybe we just have to chalk it up to it's the game itself that is just so gray that goalie interference is one of those impossible things to tell. Because if you look back at the McKenzie-McKernan goal scored by the Vancouver Canucks on the Blues, when McKernan came down and blocked the stick of Jordan Binnington, they determined that was goaltender interference, and it checked all the boxes. It was contact initiated by McKernan. It was contact initiated in the crease, right? It prevented the goaltender from doing his job. All those same things happened this past weekend, all right? Eberle went into the crease on his own. Eberle kicked the stick of Jordan Binnington on his own. And the reality of it is, and the National Hockey League, Andy Strickland got a text from somebody in the league office that said the two referees on the ice felt that the contact did not prevent Hofer from playing his position. Like, what the hell's the point of going to replay then for? Like, seriously, what's the point of going to replay if in the end you're going to ignore what replay shows you and just go with the guys on the ice that couldn't get it right the first time, so you had to go to the review? And this is a problem here. Now, the only way it gets fixed, the general managers, again, they're the ones in charge of it. They've got to go. And, guys, there's a little history to this. The calls on the ice for goalie interference used to rest with the referees on the ice watching the reviews. And shortly after the Blues had a game in Boston, Jake Allen got checked in the crease and knocked out of the crease, and then the Boston Bruins scored, and the referees allowed the goal to happen. And the reasoning after the game, and Doug Armstrong was just incensed, but the reasoning after the game was that the referees didn't feel that Jake was going to be able to make the save anyway. And that was the impetus that before even the playoffs started that year, they took deciding goalie interference out of the hands of the referees on the ice. Because the other problem that they had was if you leave it up to the referees, you've got, 60 referees, and you're going to get 60 different interpretations. Versus if you do a review, you keep it within the range of about 4 or 5 people in the review room, and you start to figure out some consistency. That's about as botched a goalie interference call as you're going to get. And now that's one way of looking at it. You're frustrated with that one. The other way you look at it is teams just can't put themselves in a position where one call like that can swing a game. And that's where the Blues have to take, their own responsibility for having a 2-goal lead disappear and then a 1-goal third period lead disappear. So I don't think you can hang it all on the one call there, Tim, but the call itself makes absolutely no sense. And when coaches, general managers, and players on the ice can't why a call was made, then you've got a problem.
Yeah, it almost feels like in the NFL where they'll call pass interference, but they could say, however, the pass was ruled uncatchable, which kind of pick up the flag. I didn't know the rule well enough to know, but that apparently they have the ability to interpret, yeah, it's interference, but it didn't affect. I didn't know that there was that wiggle room.
It doesn't show up very often. And when you sit in these league meetings and they tell you, this is what goes into deciding it, right? The one thing that's never said is, but we can overrule it all if we thought that the puck would have gone in anyway, right? That's not something that when they talk you through the rule, they talk about. And for them to sit there and say, well, because it went bar down, who's to say, it didn't impede his ability to defend his position. You kick the stick, it opens up his blocker side, it impacts where your shoulder goes. What if he ends up nicking that puck? What if the stick nicks the puck and instead of going bar down, it goes up? And as many reasons as they could say we didn't think he was going to save it anyway, I could give you just as many that say there's a chance he gets a piece of it, and how many times we've seen those pucks blocked differently. So that really is the problem with the rule, guys, is when you have replay and you allow interpretation to come into it like that, it's a mess. And you're going to sit there and tell me that both referees on the ice felt that contact didn't, it's just, I think the score dictated their decision more than anything. I don't know. You compare it to the McKernan goal, and I'm sitting there going, where's the consistency? And now if you're, like I said, Martin, if you're Doug Armstrong, if you're Jim Montgomery, you're going, yeah, okay, look, yeah, that hurt. And that prevented us, and we should have probably had that game down to 2 minutes. And Jim Montgomery said it: 3 chances at an empty net, you didn't score it. That sounds familiar. 2-goal lead, didn't hold it. That sounds familiar. 1-goal lead in the third period, didn't hold it. Those are situational things where you look at it, you're frustrated with a call on the ice, but the reality of it is too unfortunately, you don't want to be in a position where you allow a call like that to impact the game, and that's where the Blues found themselves.
Chris Kerber, our guest here on TMA, joins us every Monday at 8:15 on 101 ESPN. And in addition to the situation that caused a great deal of frustration amongst Blues fans and Jim Montgomery on Saturday night, another development over the weekend with Logan Mailloux going to the AHL for what Doug Armstrong has called a reset. Your opinion on that move, Curbs?
Yeah, look, this one makes all the sense in the world, and the season was going to snowball on them, and it was snowballing. The pressure, I got to imagine, was getting immense. You've got the pressure of the team to win, and you've got the pressure of a young individual player to perform, and things weren't going well. Going down to the minor leagues where you can get coaching, you don't have as many eyeballs on you. You can work on specific aspects of the game they want to work on. Makes all the sense in the world. Doesn't mean it's a bad trade. It doesn't mean it's a You don't know any of that yet. That still has to play itself out. But what you did know is there was just too much. Like, I don't know. I have to go back and look at my book, guys, but I think maybe only one time this year have you gone from one game to the next with the same lineup and the same line combinations. They've got to settle into something here. And I think the play of Matt Kessel has shown to be more reliable, more consistent than what we've seen from Logan Mailloux. And keeping him here and then saying, well, is he in? Is he out? Is he in? He's got to know that when he's going to the rink every day, he's playing. And that's all part of it. Look, we're pretty reliable with what you're seeing from Tyler Tucker right now. Well, he went back and forth 2 or 3 times. This is a guy in Mailloux that hasn't played a whole lot of pro hockey yet. So some patience, some time, let him go down there, get out of the pepper pot of the NHL, kind of get things figured out there and move forward. You bring up Hunter Skinner, he's going to bring an edge to him if he gets in that lineup. I like what he can bring from what I'm being told from people down in Springfield and then our staff up here. So this is about the team, but it's also a lot about Logan Mailloux just finding a foundation and a center again to get playing and trusting his instincts. And I like the move. I think it's a good move for both the team and the player.
What was your sense after Kyrou got benched in Buffalo on Thursday night? I know it's about him, but I also felt like it's a message kind of to the whole room. How do you think that resonated even beyond Kyrou?
Well, I think it was not only that, Martin, but, then Robert Thomas sitting for, the second half of a period there. So, yeah, I think that it does resonate, but I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this one. Like, yeah, look, it's about sending a message to the team. And, yes, they said, well, we could have picked a bunch of different players. That's true, but you didn't pick a bunch of different players, right? You picked Jordan Kyrou. And the reason is you need more, you expect more. You have to have more consistency. He's a 27-year-old in the National Hockey League right now. He's tied with Robert Thomas as your highest paid player on the team. The expectations are there, and we've seen this around the NHL before. So it's not like he's in his own boat. We've seen the owners in the last 4 times in the last few years, call out Jamie Benn and call out Tyler Seguin with the Dallas Stars. I mean, that's an owner doing that. We're never going to see that here, which is a good thing, by the way. But that's Jim Montgomery saying we need our best to be our best. We need everybody out there to be better. And if while we're sitting one guy, we've got no problem sitting the other top guy. I mean, that does send a message, and I think guys have to get that kind of figured out. And we have a good coach. We have a good coaching staff. I mean, that part's there. Sometimes it's just up to the players, to do it. And I thought his response to the media was excellent. I thought his ownership and responsibility felt on it was great. He said what you're supposed to say, and which is good, but then he backed it up and played a good game. Now, do you see that, tomorrow against Calgary, right? And then do you see it against Las Vegas on the weekend? Do you see this guy become a player that can lift a team and carry a team? And that when you got that and you're getting that consistently, then what you're getting is what you expected.
Chris Kerber, our guest here on 101 ESPN. I want to make this clear. This is an observation from an NHL analyst, but I saw Frank Saravelli talking and saying that Doug Armstrong is open for business. Now, it's one thing for that to be the case. It's another thing for teams to just be calling just to seeing where things are. You don't know what that really means, but I will say this. He did say it. It's on video. And it just hit me. It's like, man, God, from where we were about a month ago, the season started a month and change ago, to seeing that really gives some pause. There's only one team with a fewer point total than the Blues, and that's their opponent tomorrow night. And it just hits that, okay, even though it's so early in the season, it's still an incredibly critical moment for not just this season, but also perhaps some of the short-term future of the organization. How do you view where things are at this point for the Blues, Kerbs?
Well, I mean, look, I think if you're surprised based on what you saw in the second half of last season in the playoffs. I think you have to be surprised with where this team is at and how this team has looked in getting to where they're at. And I think more so than just the results, I think you have to look at a lot of the reasons as to why you're there. Like, you're not coming out of games going, man, we deserved a better fate in that game, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about a group of players where the start to the season has been pretty close to the same now for 4+ years, right? And you're talking about it where it's cost 2 coaches their jobs, and you're on your third head coach. Now, again, nothing is ever black and white and easy, guys, because in that process, you traded away core guys like Tarasenko, Ryan O'Reilly, and guys like that, right? In the process of last season to this season, over 2,500 games on defense left you with Suter and Nick Leddy, right? So it is a different team, and there's different things going on with that. So, you had an identity line with Reddick Foxa there, and he re-signs with Dallas, not the Blues. So you're bringing in guys on that. So there are factors in there. It doesn't surprise me to see what Frank Saravalli said, because you know who Doug Armstrong is. He's an aggressive guy. Doug Armstrong came out and publicly said that the success of last year sped up what he thought. He expected this year to be the toughest year. He felt that last year sped it up. Turns out maybe this year might be the toughest year. That's yet to be determined. But knowing what Doug knows, he's not going to sit pat. And I don't think this is going to be one where, hey, let's just see where we're at the trade deadline. I think there, in some ways, he probably says, okay, I've seen enough over some time. The challenge that you have, so, I mean, honestly, and I'm not, when I say this, I'm not knocking Frank Saravalli. This guy's done a lot of reporting that's been dang accurate. You're not going out on a limb by saying when the St. Louis Blues have started the way they are that Doug Armstrong's open for business. I mean, that's pretty much the guy's MO. But, what I just don't see happening, guys, is I see if there's a move that makes sense, that makes him better, he will do it. I don't see a fire sale where he's going, we're just getting rid of some guys, because I don't see him saying, we're going to this point of this retool, and then we're going to now take 2 or 3 steps backwards for a couple of years. I don't see that being in his MO either. So not at all shocked by what he said. We know Doug to be very aggressive and not one to sit pat. What it means, well, man, that can mean a whole bunch of everything that's open for debate.
Chris Kerber with us here on Mondays, talking it over. Blues and Flames tomorrow. Pregame, 6 p.m. puck drop here on 101 ESPN at 7 p.m. Kerbs, always appreciate the perspective. Thanks so much for the time this morning.
Okay, guys, have an awesome week.
You too. That's Chris Kerber with us here on 101 ESPN. Your thoughts on what he had to say. Welcome, 314-399-9646. Talk it over with other TMA listeners at youtube.com/TMASTL. And, of course, you're welcome to email in for our Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. Martin, you are a Design Air client just like me and Doug.
Love the fact that Design Air is St. Louis-based, family-owned, been doing this for a century now, so we decided it's time. We got to get a new HVAC unit. And after Beers with Seth, which is the new podcast, Tim, I don't know if I told you, I've got that patented now, started talking about, can we get somebody out there? Can we get a bid? Pricing came in. It's right on par with what's out there, which means they are reasonably priced. But in addition to that, they've got a great staff, very professional, and everyone that works with them likes to text into this show and tell us about their experience. We love hearing from you, and I'll give you a first-hand report after Friday when they come out to put in the new HVAC unit. Design Air here today, tomorrow for the long term, so you can always count on them. And they are the longest-running sponsor on TMA. It's designairservice.com. Get online, set up that appointment now. Make sure you are set for winter.
There it is. Email in the morning after at InsideSTL.com. The morning after at InsideSTL.com for our Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. I had the damning statistics on Missouri's record versus teams with winning conference records earlier on in the program. For the record, Missouri 0-15 against teams with winning conference records since Eli Drinkwitz took over in 2020. Also, fun fact for No and Tell, their last win, and this was tweeted at me moments ago, I should say, from a listener. The last time they beat a conference team who finished with a better than 500 record in conference play. Anybody want to take a guess? Papers? This might be up your alley.
Well, we know it's certainly before 2020. They beat Florida on the road.
2018, that's correct. There it is, 38-17 in 2018. So that's the last time it happened. But Martin, you thought a post-game soundbite from somebody other than Eli Drinkwitz was the most damning moment. We will have that for you on the other side of the break. It's TMA 101 ESPN. Well, we have an opportunity for TMA listeners to make some money. Psychiatric Care and Research Center and Dr. John Canale are conducting a clinical research trial and looking for people to participate and be compensated for their participation. Dr. John Canale has been in practice for over 40 years and has more than 20 years of experience conducting clinical research trials. He is currently doing studies on anxiety disorder, depression, bipolar depression, and or obsessive compulsive disorder. If you are interested in participating in the clinical research trial, check out the website at pcrc-stl.com. That's pcrc-stl.com, or you can call 636-244-3593. That's 636-244-3593. It's Psychiatric Care and Research Center.
This is Jackson with the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Monday Night Football action right here on 101 ESPN this evening as the Packers take on the Eagles. Pre-game at 6 p.m., kickoff at 7:15 right here on 101 ESPN. That was another Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
What do we got going on here, Papers?
Some sad music.
Did you just Google sad?
Yebba's Heartbreak.
Does this make you feel better when you play this?
No, it's freezing outside. My football team stinks. My basketball team has to sweat it out against SEMO.
Can I just get a picture of you looking out into the window, staring at traffic? Sad.
Yeah.
I'd like to tweet that out.
The program is called The Morning After. It airs on 101 ESPN and on the TMA STL YouTube channel. Just joined by Chris Kerber in the previous segment on the Blues and the Kraken, the ruling on goalie interference, and the state of the team as they will be playing the only other team that is in their spot at this particular point in the season, the Calgary Flames, tomorrow. And you can catch that here on 101 ESPN. Pre-game at 6 p.m., puck drop 7 p.m. Martin, this stood out to you most from covering the Missouri loss on Saturday. Another time we are using the term damning Caden Green, offensive lineman.
Reference the fact that they started to call out what we were doing, referring to the A&M defense. Here's, I believe we have the sound of Mizzou lineman Caden Green.
Very confident heading into this game. What were some things you thought you guys would do well, and what surprised you that made it so you couldn't pull it off?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they made some good adjustments. They started to kind of key on what we were doing, call out plays at the line. So, it just is what it is.
Okay, yeah. Caden, I just want to clarify something you said when you said they're calling out plays at the line, like they're there and they knew what you were doing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, a few times. I think they were starting to get reads on like formations and stuff. Maybe stances, I don't know. But, like I said, that's a really good defense. We just got to be better.
Yeah, that's pretty specific there.
Yeah.
They're calling out more or less knowing what you're going to do.
Didn't mince words.
No.
That stunned the Colonel so much, he'll join us at 9 o'clock.
And so it was a question by Benjamin Hockman.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said, more or less, why'd you think you were going to win? That was a follow-up because Drinkwitz said the room was devastated, one of the hardest rooms I've been in because we really believed we were going to win. So when Hockman said, what made you think? And then he gave the answer, and then the Colonel followed up.
Yes. The Colonel said in his postgame show that he was so surprised by that answer that he wanted to make sure he did not misunderstand it, and that's why he followed up, because he could not believe that was the case. So you want to talk about damning on a coaching staff, you have the play selection as it's already been focused on in the Alabama game and in the Vanderbilt game and now in the A&M game. Then you have the coaching staff with special teams because you had the fake punt. When Missouri was getting something going, Mike Elko on 4th and 3 decides to go with the fake punt. Eric Link, the Missouri special teams coach, certainly hasn't had a great year in the kicking game. And as I noted a couple of weeks ago with another one of my projects in these spreadsheets, Missouri is the only SEC school that went into the season with a true freshman as their backup kicker. Multiple schools, more than half actually, have more than 2 kickers on their roster. No school outside of Missouri has a true freshman as a backup, and I think that's notable because in the kicking game, oftentimes experience is what leads to success. Plenty of guys can go out there and kick balls through uprights when there's nobody around, but how are you going to handle it with the game on the line? For example, Oregon had that going on this past Saturday at Kinnick in Iowa City, and their kicker was able to deliver. So here is what Eli Drinkwitz had to say about the fake punt.
I apologize. I do not have that this very moment. Give me 2 seconds and I'll have it.
All right, fair enough.
And it was kind of a back-breaking moment. And in part, too, when your defense forces a punt, you're going to get the ball back. And I think that was a theme throughout that game where the defense was playing well, and I think eventually just sort of wore down. And a lot of that was time of possession.
One moment.
All right, Papers. While you are looking for that, I will tell people about Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies, who is online at evergreen-ws.com, or you can call 314-889-0503. Everybody needs a financial advisor. Mark Hanna is a wonderful person and financial advisor. The rare person where you call him, you will feel better about life after you get off the phone with him, in addition to your financial situation, because you've taken the step to tend to your issues. 314-889-0503. He customizes plans for the individual, not for the office. It's for you, your goals. Everybody has different goals, different stages of life and their career. Mark Hanna, evergreen-ws.com, or call 314-889-0503. All right, Jackson, you have it on the fake punt.
Eli, I know you addressed the fake punt, but I wonder if you could just kind of, what was the situation like? Were you guys on alert? Were you in safe? What kind of, when you say you need to do better, what do you mean?
Third quarter, we're up 14. Ball's somewhere middle of the field, right? Momentum had kind of switched in our favor. We had max return called because we thought we were going to be able to generate some space for Kevin. And when you have max return call, you're not really in a great position to defend the fake. We had one guy over there, but that wasn't going to be enough. And so ultimately that's on me. I gave the okay. I said, hey, we can be a max return here. So that's on me as the head football coach. I approve those calls, and I got to be better.
Yeah, when is the last time you remember Missouri breaking off a big punt return to the point that you need to be in max protect?
That's what I was going to say. It really isn't a big part of their game right now. And that's another one where you kind of hedge your bets. You want to be aggressive. You never want to coach scared. We talked a lot about that late first half possession. But I think you want to be realistic, too. Just get the ball back. And the other one that was just bizarre was Ahmad Hardy was not in the game, to the point in the second quarter, guys in the press box had binoculars. They were looking to see, is he in the medical tent? Did he leave the field? Was an equipment issue? Was he injured? And when he got asked about that, it was just, well, he had 13 carries. And I love Jamal Roberts. He does a lot of good things. But I thought we had a 1-2 punch, and I think most people view Hardy as the better back. God bless our own Jamal Roberts, St. Mary's kid, who's good. But I don't understand how in a game you must win, there's a weapon. Ahmad Hardy, we've all talked about how he's, I think after a few weeks, people are like, oh, might even be in the Heisman mix. But the fact that he's not even in the game is bizarre to me. Like, he's a weapon. And they just don't use him for, like, he basically was missing for the whole second quarter. And that answer from Drinkwitz was, well, he had 13 carries.
Right.
But that wasn't the question.
Jackson?
Yep.
Here is what he had to say when asked that, Martin.
Coach, Ahmad Hardy was not on the field for much of the first half, especially after that first drive. What was his status throughout those opening 2 quarters where he wasn't on the field?
I mean, he finished with 13 carries for 114 yards. So, there's other players out there, I guess. So there's things that Jamal does really well. He's a really good player, and so nothing to it.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Nothing. That'll do it. That'll wrap it up. Nothing to it. But the guy had a 40-yard.
I know exactly what that means.
40-yard run on his first carry. He has been special at times this year. I just don't understand how he's not even in the mix at times. I think the play calling, I know that can be at times kind of an easy narrative, but I think there's a lot of specifics here in this game. And the fact that you got a freshman quarterback, can we get him in a rhythm? Can we throw any ball over the middle? Why are we chucking it deep over and over? And maybe he's got great arm strength, but those are low percentage passes. You watch the NFL, the deep, that's a low percentage pass. Why wouldn't you try and get the guy rolling a little bit with some simpler stuff, even over the middle, and they just didn't even try.
Bottom line is this for me. And if people share this opinion, that's great. If they disagree, that's cool too. You're welcome to express the thoughts. 314-399-9646 or in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. This is, in my lifetime as a Missouri football fan, which, you know, as far as having awareness, I guess, would go back to the 1980s. And, you know, covering the team going back to the mid-1990s. This is the best Missouri defense I have seen, period. It's an elite defense. Then there's this, well, the other side of the ball isn't doing their job. Okay. Just a friendly reminder that 4 weeks and 2 days ago, there was talk about the running back who wasn't out on the field in the second quarter being in the mix for the Heisman Trophy. So to dismiss the entire offense would strike me as being unfair. But the offense as a whole is dragging down the defense. And if Doug were here, he would say special teams. Don't forget about the special teams. To have the situation that Missouri has with its kicking game hamstring the ability to call plays offensively has a material impact on what you have seen offensively when Missouri has actually gone up against teams with any semblance of a defense. And that is a problem. And so then when I go into this research that I did yesterday and spending my Sunday afternoon digging up these numbers, which of course are available to anybody. It's just I have the, you know, mental disposition that is not necessarily a great thing to spend the time to look them up. And I see that Missouri is the only team since 2020 without a win in the SEC against a conference team that finished the season or in 2025 is currently has a winning record in the SEC. Even Mississippi State has won since 2020. And then people might say, well, start in 2023. That's when things started turning around. Well, they started turning around because the criticism of Missouri from other SEC schools and around the nation is they built this by playing against poor teams. And it turns out that is correct. Missouri doesn't have a win against a team with a winning conference record in the SEC since 2018. And in 2023 to 2025, the record is 0-8. The only school that's worse, Mississippi State, 0-12. Everybody else in the conference, including the newcomers, Texas and Oklahoma, have a win. And then the coach, Eli Drinkwitz, is 0-15. Nobody is worse than that since 2020, and the only coach who has a worse record, if you can have a worse than zero record, is Jeff Lebby, who is 0-9 since 2023. Eli Drinkwitz is 0-8. Now, I want to make this crystal clear, because I think when you present numbers, one would maybe think, okay, well, you're saying he needs to be fired. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not blaming the situation solely on Eli Drinkwitz at all. But I am presenting the data, and you can interpret it however you want. The reason why I point it out is I'm of the opinion that in 2023 and 2025, I do not feel this way about the 2024 team, but in 2023 and 2025, Missouri had what it took to get into the playoff. That might sound crazy to people right now, but that is my observation. I do not think they had it in 2024, and if anything, they were incredibly lucky to have the total of wins that they had last year. But in 2023, it was there, and they blew it against LSU. But I don't think that was a play-calling thing. I think there were some self-inflicted penalties that hurt them there. They played a great game against Georgia. They just got beat by a better team. In 2025, however, what were we talking about the morning after the Alabama game? Why didn't they get the ball to Hardy more? What was that about? Why are they throwing it with Prabula when clearly he wasn't able to get it down the field? What were we talking about after the Vanderbilt game? What were the play calls inside the 5-yard line when Missouri had a chance to take the lead? What was that about? And what are we talking about after the A&M game? It's 7-0. It's 3rd and 10 with a quarterback who they're clearly showing on the sideline has a bloody hand and can't throw the ball. And he only has one pass of more than 5 yards at this point, and it's 3rd and 10. And the opposition only has 2 timeouts left. You run the ball, they'll be left with 1 timeout, and now they've got to go 50 yards to even have a field goal. That is coaching as well. So just because I have those observations doesn't mean this guy's a disaster, he needs to be fired. That's not it. If anything, I would say they have made incredible progress over his time. But I would point out, he is the 11th highest compensated coach in college football. And he's the only coach in the SEC who doesn't have a win against a team with a winning conference record since 2020. And those two things don't really match up. Gabe DeArmond is going to join us on the other side of the break. It's TMA 101 ESPN. Missouri, get ready. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, is coming soon. And starting December 1st, new customers in Missouri can get up to $300 in bonus bets when you make your first $5 bet. From touchdowns to home runs to three-pointers with FanDuel, any play can be the play of the game. Plus, with live betting, you can even get in on the action after the game has already started. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. FanDuel is the best way to game day. It's coming to Missouri. Jackie Papers, what was your big play this weekend? Did you have a big play?
I did. It was the Boston College.
Oh, dear goodness.
Laying 10.5 against SMU.
How did it go?
Not great. And then when you follow that up with Auburn +7, they find new ways to lose every single game. It was Auburn Tigers.
Oh, so they didn't. Then you got a
+6. I'm sorry, it was
so you didn't
+6.
lose.
Yeah, I lost it. It was great.
FanDuel is the best way to game day, and it's coming soon to Missouri. Just visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to learn more. This way, you'll be all set to bet when FanDuel goes live in Missouri on December 1st. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri. Play your game with FanDuel, the #1 rated sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older and present in Missouri. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Offer starts December 1st, 2025. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Bonus issued is now withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Well, Jackson, they'll be playing it at 6:45 on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Mississippi State.
Yeah. Yeah, they will be.
Did you just whisper?
Does it all matter anymore, man?
Oh, no. Come on. NCAA tournament just around the corner.
Yep. Focus has shifted.
Just need like 11, 12 SEC teams to get in. You're fine.
Happened last year.
Nice. It's TMA. Jackson's battling through it. And what Martin and I are doing, we're lifting his spirits. And the Colonel's going to help you. He is, Jackson. You think he's going to bring you down, and he's going to lift your spirits?
I think he's going to get me in the right headspace.
Okay, there you go. Gabe DeArmond brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. It is TMA here on 101 ESPN and the TMA YouTube channel. The show presented to you by Brown and Crouppen, and the Colonel joins us now on the Collier and Thompson phone lines. Morning, Colonel.
What's up, guys? How you doing? Jackson sounds like he would fit right in on the Tigers' lair this week.
Yeah, that's the Power Mizzou message board. Why don't you go in there?
Who's to say I'm not already in there?
Oh, is that right?
No, I keep my thoughts to myself and whoever listens to the show.
It's essentially yourself.
Yeah.
Right. The five of us.
Colonel, let me and you workshop our text exchange on Saturday.
I want to say in the end, you probably were right.
Clip that off. Where is Doug with the gong?
Oh God!
But here's what I want to say about it. I'm trying to think. What is the name of this text group that we have here with some of our KOMU
Mizzou dorks?
I think it's what it's called.
That's what
Mizzou
it's called.
Dorks.
Okay.
Mizzou dorks with 3 who graduated. I think is what's officially called.
I think morons is in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. I'm so aware of not texting you during games because you're actually working, whereas I'm
really not. I get a lot of texts during games.
I hear you say that on the post-game show, and you say it when you come on this thing, and you write about it on Power Mizzou. But so I felt it was a safe space because I saw that it was a group text. There's 4 other people in it, and the only time I participated in it was run it in that spot, 3rd and 10, to get to the half down 7-0 and get the ball back after the half. No upside on throwing, all downside. But in fairness to you, and you said back, you can always something along the lines of you can always complain about the play calling or something. You had an open check down on 1st and Jude James wide open on 2nd. That's not all play calling. That's the quarterback. And so, but in your world, all you see, probably not all you see, but 99% during Missouri games when they're losing are people probably complaining about the play calling. And
yes.
so I throw a log on the fire, even though we've known each other for 3 decades. And so your mindset is, here's a guy complaining about the play calling. But I wasn't like, don't run it to pick up the first down. I'm like, run it to get to the half down 7-0 in a miraculous way like you were against Alabama. That's where I was coming from.
And in the end, that is right. A couple things and even Eli Drinkwitz said that was right. The one thing to remember is, it takes disaster for throwing the ball to burn you the way it burned Missouri there. And disaster struck. If you hand the ball off, in all likelihood, disaster does not happen. You get 3 yards, A&M uses a timeout, you punt. Maybe they score anyway, but they probably have to go 80 yards to do it. So, yes, absolutely correct there. My whole point this week and always has never been Kirby Moore is doing a great job and the play calling is excellent. That is not at all the point. As I said and wrote after the game, when your offense is as bad as Missouri's is right now, and it kind of hit a new level on Saturday, but let's be honest, this offense has been bad for a month. When it's that bad, everybody involved with the operation deserves blame. But my point is, everybody deserves blame. It is not as simple as call better plays and this team is 9-0. That's just not the case. And like I said, on that drive, on that series alone, I pointed out 2 plays where hey, they've got a first down and a new set of downs if the quarterback makes the right plays. And he didn't make the right plays, and that's okay. He's a true freshman. I'm not burying the kid, but we've got to – and I say we've got to stop it. We're never going to stop it. It's always at every level of football with every team that loses a game. But, the idea that just our guys are as good or better than the other guys. We have all the talent in the world, and the only reason we don't win games is because our offensive coordinator calls bad plays. Just drives me insane.
Did you think?
And I'm not saying you were saying that, but many people are.
Gabe, did you think, and I know Drinkwitz has said it before, I got to do a better job or that's on me. I felt this time it was more sincere, where it hit him hard that, listen, we didn't get it done. It's another year where we didn't live up to the massive hype or the potential. Did you sense that this was different?
I mean, I think the gravity of losing that game was bigger. Now, I'll also say this. I don't think losing Saturday, even by 21 points, is the problem. The problem with this season is and remains the Vanderbilt loss. That's the one that – because if you had won that one, losing Saturday doesn't eliminate anything. The Vanderbilt one is the bigger one. You know, like, there's nothing a losing coach can say that is going to strike the right chord afterwards. Because I remember Gary Pinkel used to do that all the time, right? I'm responsible. He said those two words more than probably any other words except we do what we do in his Missouri career. And it did reach a point where people said, that's great, man, but, like, I don't want to hear that you're responsible. I want to know what you're doing to fix it. But the thing is, that's not what they're not going to tell us that in the post-game press conference. And obviously they're trying to fix it. It just hasn't worked. He was certainly frustrated and down because, the main goal for the season is out the window. How realistic that goal ever was, I think, is debatable, but there's no question that was their goal, and they know they can't get there now.
Gabe DeArmond with us here on 101 ESPN. We welcome you, if you have some questions for the Colonel, to send those in, 314-399-9646. My feeling going into the game was Missouri could lose this thing by 25 or they could win it by double digits. That there were three factors contributing to what I felt was this huge delta. Number one, what would Matt Zollers do? Would he be able to be better than Bro Pabula in the passing game? And if he were able to do that, that would ideally open up the running game for Missouri. And let's start on point number one. Clearly, it was not there. I don't think that Eli Drinkwitz and Kirby Moore helped him with plays to kind of ease him into the role, and he was throwing balls about 100 miles an hour on some short pass plays. But that wasn't there, and on top of it, then he hurts his hand on the strip sack that Caden Green was able to fall onto. What did you think of Zollers? What did you think of the play calling for the true freshman? And your assessment of Missouri's passing game with Zollers?
Bad, and awful. Okay. I mean, I started saying to Cody, literally after two drives, where are the easy plays here? Like, you're watching Marcel Reed. I just looked up his passing chart from Saturday. Do you know how many passes he threw more than 10 yards in the air in that game? 3. He threw 29 passes, and 26 of them were within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. 13 of them were behind the line of scrimmage. Like, he was throwing passes that you just go, well, there's no defense for that. Like, Missouri only had 6 pressures because he's getting rid of the ball in the second half, and every throw is just kind of almost a handoff. Like, my guy is wide open. All I've got to do is toss it out there, and it's an easy gain. On Missouri's side, I didn't see those. Like, Matt Zollers threw, I can't remember the exact number. I want to say it was like 12 passes of 20 yards or more. It may not have quite been that high, but it was clearly the most they've thrown all season long. And you're kind of going, what are they doing here? Now, again, I don't want to lay that all on play calling. I have a hard time believing, and I haven't watched the game again or anything yet, but I have a hard time believing that every play call is, all right, everybody go deep. There are no options, within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. Some of that is on the quarterback, but I mean, Missouri's passing game was broken. And I know that everybody says, well, just run the ball more. Look, you cannot line up against an SEC defense and just say, we are running the ball every down and have success. I mean, Missouri ran the ball on something like 77% of its first down plays in the first half. 2 of them got big gains, and the other, I think, 9 runs or 11 runs or something like that averaged 2.9 yards per carry. They were in second and long all day. They committed their best drive. They committed a false start on first down that put them in 1st and 15. I mean, and I kind of disagree with your premise that you thought Missouri could win by multiple scores. I mean, I thought Missouri had one path to victory in this game. It was Zollers playing well and Marcel Reed giving Missouri the ball a couple times, and neither one happened.
Yeah, and that goes back to they were doing exactly that, though. They had a 7-0 game going into the half by mucking it up. I listened to your postgame show, and you and Cody were talking about that. And they were going to have to do exactly that, clearly, when Zollers was hurt and wasn't able to move the offense. And that's why the fact that they, for whatever reason, went 3rd and 10 and let's throw the ball blew that up. So that's why I viewed it as a 0 upside, all downside play.
No, and in the end, absolutely correct. There were 3 plays that I thought kind of made that game what it was. The first one was that one. The second one is the fake punt, which I'm sure we'll talk about. And the third one that nobody's really talking about that I wrote a lot about this morning was in the 7-0 game, Missouri got down to the A&M 39 or something like that, and Ahmad Hardy false started with 1 second left in the first quarter. They put him in 1st and 15. They tried a screen pass on the next down, lost 4 yards. A drive that absolutely should have gotten points and made it 7-3 or 7-7, ended in nothing, and I just kind of everything went bad from there.
And maybe the most interesting post-game comment was Caden Green, who pointed out that A&M, and for those who we played it earlier, and you did the follow-up, and I was in that room too, and I was like, "Wow, is he saying like because that?"
And I wanted to make sure he was saying that.
Yeah,
so
nice follow-up, Colonel.
You know, so he didn't get misquoted. But yeah, he was saying A&M was calling out their plays at the line of scrimmage. And when I tweeted that, there were a whole bunch of A&M fans that were talking about. I guess their freshman linebacker Torian York is known as this kid who just spends hours and hours in the film room and has done that to multiple teams this year, basically calling out plays at the line of scrimmage. So credit to A&M for it. And for everybody that, will say, well, how come Drinkwitz wasn't asked about that and all that? The way postgame works is Drink goes first and then the players come next. So we don't have a chance to ask Eli about that until tomorrow, which I certainly will do. Just say, hey, Caden Green said this, what was that something you guys were aware of during the game? What's the issue? All that. We'll ask him to address that tomorrow.
But
obviously a problem, though.
Yeah, pretty damning. And then the fake punt itself, Drinkwitz did say, hey, they were in a full return mode trying to get a return. But Tim and I were talking earlier, they haven't really been robust in the return game. So, again, if you're just kind of being a little conservative, which we usually bang on coaches for, but maybe in that game you're just trying everything you can to not let it get away from you.
Yeah, and I understand that, the offense had not done anything. So if you get the ball back at your own 18-yard line, I don't know that you have any confidence you're going 82 yards to score. But, yeah, like you said, their punt return game hadn't done anything all year, So I'm not saying you have to try to block the punt, but be in safe punt or just leave your defense out there. Now, I didn't really expect a fake there either. It hadn't really crossed my mind because I didn't think A&M needed to do it. Credit to Mike Elko, but I don't get paid, 7 figures to coach the football team either. That one, and the bigger problem there, it's the 3rd successful fake punt against Missouri in the last 12 games. There was one earlier this year. I can't remember which. I think it was South Carolina. Oklahoma pulled one off last year. And Missouri special teams, the best thing you can say about Missouri special teams in 6 years under Eli Drinkwitz is there are some games where it hasn't hurt them. That's the most complimentary thing you can say. And, I've said over and over, I'm not in the business of saying coaches should be fired. I don't think that's my place. And, I gotta work with these guys every day, and me going somewhere and saying, fire this guy. And then, oh, hey, how you doing, man? Let's do an interview. I just don't really think that's my job, but if anybody wants to talk about the special teams coaching, that is a conversation that certainly can be had.
Gabe DeArmond with us here on TMA, brought to you by James Carlton at the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. If you have questions for the Colonel, you're welcome to send them in, 314-399-9646. Gabe, in listening to the post-game show, you also talked about, and to be crystal clear, and you said it yourself, you're not reporting this, but your sense is that, and from talking with people, is that Eli Drinkwitz will be coming back. That doesn't mean that it is for sure, but that is certainly something that we have been talking about here with all the terminations. What is your assessment of that situation now?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I was starting to think, like, hey, man, we could be covering a coaching search, a lot of jobs open, all that. I talked to enough people last week. I think the sense is Drink wants to be at Missouri. Missouri wants him here. Now, again, until something is announced or signed or whatever, we don't know. I mean, that can change. He may not know. I think he's at least listening and using some things as leverage. But my sense is he will, as of today, be back. And, I know that it's amazing how quick this stuff turns, right? Saturday night, I got a lot of, I don't care if he leaves and who would hire him anyway. I think that's a little bit extreme. I think that, you have to be capable of taking a step back and seeing what he has done with this program. And while it hasn't gotten quite to that top level that I know every fan wants it, and I know Eli Drinkwitz wants it too, it's a lot closer than it's been in a long time.
And I think the fan base, I shouldn't say most, but I think some are reasonable saying, hey, we're not Ohio State. We're not Alabama. I think the frustration, you want to at least have one of those years where you break through and do something special. And with the playoffs, it's now at least opened the door for teams like Missouri to at least sneak in there and be part of it. I think that's the frustration.
Yeah, the frustration is you're seeing Georgia Tech maybe do it. You're seeing Indiana do it. You're seeing Vanderbilt do it. And I completely understand Missouri fans who say, why not us? Like, why can't we win that one game? And again, I think the game this season is not A&M. It's really Vanderbilt. And to an extent, Alabama, because you could have won that. And Missouri never really had a chance to win Saturday's game, if we're being honest. They're on their third-string quarterback. There was some deer in the headlights. They weren't winning that game, and I think the biggest reason Missouri fans had hope going into Saturday is Texas A&M's history of, well, they always kick one away somewhere. Why not this one?
Yeah.
And they always have. This team's different, and I think that's a really good team, and I think Mike Elko should be probably the national coach of the year. I think he's done a phenomenal job with that program in only 2 years. But the Vandy one is the one you look back at and go, man, I still kind of don't understand how they lost that game. And if you somehow manage to piece it together and get to 9-3, and I'm not optimistic that'll happen, but if you somehow do, that one in Nashville is going to hurt even worse.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. I said it's not losing this game because that was going to be a tough ask against a really good team with a freshman quarterback. It was the fact that they had to win it to save, make up for the fact they didn't win any of the big games. They had kind of backed themselves into a corner to win one of the three big ones, even though it was sort of unrealistic. Tim, I do want to mention that advertising works. We talk a lot about it on the show. Yesterday, I'm at Schnucks. I bought some Yingling Black and Tan.
Oh, look at you. The Colonel got to you.
Oh, it's their best product.
He mentioned the Black and Tan in between people calling in and mentioning what kind of car they drive. I think that's a new thing.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Lexus got mentioned, I heard.
But I grabbed a little Yingling Black and Tan in honor of the black and gold of Mizzou.
I hope you enjoy it. It's I discovered that on a Yingling brewery tour many years ago. It's a very solid product.
Jackson, you want to ask the Colonel anything about the basketball team? Jackson drove down for the basketball game on Friday night and then went back to St. Louis for the football game on Saturday.
Saw a victory. Saw the only victory, I guess the one of two victories of the weekend.
VMI.
Yeah, so I feel pretty damn good. Can Trent Pearson and Ann Arbor Boateng come back, please?
I don't know, man.
I'm sure. I know Javon Porter is a good guy, but I'm good on watching them a lot more this season. Really like to see TP and Ann Arbor Boateng.
Yeah, and then Sean Phillips is sick yesterday, which again we'll take him at his word and assume Sean will play Wednesday night against Minnesota, but we don't know. We just show up every day and wonder. Like I literally 10 minutes before tip off yesterday got a text from somebody that said, "So who's the random guy that's not going to play tonight?" And then within 2 minutes, we had a tweet from Mizzou basketball that Sean Phillips was ill and was not playing. So it's going to be somebody every game. We'll see who.
There you go. You feel better now?
No, but I feel at least there's optimism.
Hey, they're 3-0.
That's right.
And they should beat Minnesota. They should be 8-0 on December 2nd going to South Bend.
Love it.
I try to cheer these guys up. I said in the chow line at the press box, I saw a guy with a blazer for the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, and it did not pick up Tim's spirits.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a huge difference between in what bowl game. It'll be. I think Citrus is probably out, but like Gator Bowl, ReliaQuest Bowl, the Mayo Bowl, it might pick up your spirits a little bit if you can see Eli Drinkwitz bathed in Duke's mayonnaise on January 2nd.
Jackson.
The problem with that game is it's played the day the transfer portal opens, and I would imagine the Missouri coaching staff would rather be able to focus on the first day of the portal than, the Virginia Cavaliers and Charlotte, but they'll go wherever they get sent, I would assume.
There you go. Jackson, do you feel better about the basketball team, though?
Yeah, I do. I'm not as the sky is falling as I saw some people were on Friday night, so I'm okay.
All right, there you go.
Well, Friday night kind of showed what the floor is. Like, it just showed me that against real teams, like, this team's not good enough to just show up and go, yeah, we should win. Like, they're going to actually have to play well. They played dreadfully for about 20, 25 minutes, but it was still good enough to beat SEMO.
Yep. That's all that matters.
The Colonel talking it over with us here. Brought to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. And always appreciate the time and the perspective. And the Colonel giving us what he has to think. You can read it at powermizzou.com. He has his 10 thoughts both on the weekend in college football and the state of things, both for Missouri football and basketball. Those are up and recommended reading at powermizzou.com. Always appreciate it, Gabe. Thanks.
All right, guys, have a good one.
You too. It's Gabe DeArmond with us here on TMA. Tim McKernan, Martin Kilcoyne, Jackson Burkett, Chairman Kurt Manning, the Callier and Thompson phone lines. This is The Morning After, presented by Brown & Crouppen on 101 ESPN. guess Gabe didn't lift your spirits.
I just like to play this song.
Yeah, because you're a masochist. And I'm not going to kink shame. I want to make that clear. That wasn't like, hey, you know, I'm a dom, you're a sub. That's cool. No.
Automatic for the People, 1992?
Yeah. I think that's a nice play. I'm not going to bet against you on that. How do we do in the SEC picks?
Oof.
We hit the Citadel.
We definitely hit the Citadel.
Do you think Lane took it easy on him for our exact theory?
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
But I think it's like the only time we've ever all picked a team and they covered. Otherwise, that's the curse.
Yeah. Tim, you went 2-4 on the weekend. Florida against Kentucky. Who saw that one coming? That was...
This is the time of year, though, that you kind of get into some of these games where teams are done, and, you know, that isn't one that I would touch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for sure.
But I will say, I never would have thought it would go like that.
Yeah, they got smoked.
I didn't know Kentucky was capable of that.
Yes, that's one core issue there, Martin.
Charlie, picking on behalf of Doug, went 4-2. Martin split it 3-3. And then I also went 4-2, but there's a blood win on there with Texas A&M, so it doesn't feel great.
Not a true son.
No, it doesn't. Alabama covering by a number.
Alabama barely covered, right?
Yeah, by a point.
Yeah, that was one where I was watching that once I got back from Columbia, and it could have been. I mean, they just kind of ground out the clock. They knew they were playing against a team that had nothing, and they did cover. I think Lane Train could have covered, and that would have made it even worse. The game that I loved it was Texas Tech and BYU. It's weird how that works. Texas Tech, I think it kicked off at around 10, maybe 10.5, and they're playing against a team that is ranked higher than them and giving up double digits. But there are teams that you watch and you go, yeah, I don't think it's there. And Missouri had all of those traits. My hope on Missouri was that Zollers would be able to open up the running game by being able to effectively throw downfield, and that just wasn't there. And I don't know how much the fact that he got hurt changed it, but you know, they weren't going to allow him to do it anyway based on what the game plan was, and he was throwing to the sidelines every time. They threw across the middle one time. Texas Tech's a great team whose only loss came when their starting quarterback was out. It's one thing if you got to deal with that the rest of the way. It's another thing if he comes back, and he has, and they are dominant. The ACC has all of these traits of teams with near-death experiences, and Jackson, a number of them finally died on Saturday.
Yeah.
Virginia.
Dunzo.
And then Louisville, after their win against Miami.
I know.
Then they play slap and tickle. Oh, you're a Louisville Cardinal fan.
I kind of like them out of the ACC. I thought that like maybe they could come out of the ACC and be something to keep an eye on in the playoff. You know, like, hey, gotta play hard against those Cardinals. Nope. We took it from Cal Berkeley, who could barely beat Bill Belichick at his worst.
Yes, that is. They got it. They got it from Cal. So the ACC trending downward, Texas Tech trending upward. BYU getting stomped could be a problem for them if they get into the decision making. But the game of the day wound up being a game with a double-digit point spread that wasn't the one where College Game Day was hosted. It was in Happy Valley. I was sitting there before the Missouri game, watching on my phone at Faurot Field. Penn State and Indiana. Sweet mother of mercy, that catch, Martin. Holy crap. We're in 10 in his 6 seasons in Oxford, and over the last 3, he is 4-4. And that is how you gain respect. You don't gain respect by mentions on College Game Day. You gain respect by earning it by winning when you have the opportunities. And Missouri is 0-6 against those caliber of teams in the last 2 seasons. I guess they could have a chance for one of those the rest of the way. It's certainly not this Saturday, and it's not the final game of the season. It's Oklahoma, but Oklahoma has to go to Tuscaloosa this weekend, and so that could alter the landscape for the Sooners. Couple big games. You got Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Alabama. One of the key moments for Missouri in 2025 actually came when Fernando Mendoza decided he wanted to go to Bloomington instead of Columbia. And he was talking following that Indiana game in the catch about the comeback against the Nittany Lions.
This by far is the best moment of my career, and to be able to share it with such amazing brothers like a Cal, Cal, it's still amazing brotherhood and still have a lot of good friends over there. But it shares to see what all we've been through the Iowa game, through the Oregon game, to now the Penn State games. Those are all games you have circled, especially being away before the season. And no matter what the record is, Penn State is still Penn State. Their fans are still Penn State fans. And so these are game-winning drives that you dream of growing up as a kid. And so I can say that I think this is the top of my career right now, and the top moment I've had in my career, and I have so much joy in my heart to share with the program and all my teammates.
That's a great soundbite.
Was he weeping after the score? Someone told me, we were at the bar watching, and someone said, "Is Mendoza crying?" Not judging. I was just wondering.
Tears of joy, perhaps.
I respect a guy with a heart on his sleeve. That was a hell of a throw.
Well, I think
the catch, the throw, the drive.
And the point is, winning a game like that will help you down the road. In college basketball, the teams that are always undefeated late in the year. Yes. Some people say, just take a loss. You don't want to lose, but just kind of get it out of the way. I feel yourself. I feel that way with a close win in football.
It's a real positive, because otherwise it's like, were they really tested? They really kind of bullied Oregon in Eugene. I was thinking this because I have a buddy who listens to the program who's an Iowa guy. And I think he went up to the game on Saturday. Huge Iowa fan. And as I was watching, so I'm watching Penn State, Indiana before the game. I'm walking out of Faurot Field in the windstorm, watching Oregon, Iowa. And I'm thinking to myself, as crazy as it is, I would much rather be a Missouri fan than an Iowa fan at this moment because of the way Iowa lost. They have that drive. They score the touchdown. They don't get the 2-point conversion. And then Oregon's able to get down the field and kick the game-winning field goals. Time expires. And Iowa, I realize I was probably in the same kind of category as Missouri. Not necessarily respected nationally, but they're there. They're in the mix. They can't get that key win. They're the team that up until Penn State had played Indiana the closest this year in Iowa City. And here now they've got Oregon, a team that people think of as their brand. But you go, man, I don't know on Oregon. Maybe it's not there this year. I'm not sure. Oregon gets their first test in those conditions, and Dan Lanning's guys are able to get the job done just like Indiana is. If Oregon loses that game, they are out of the college football playoff, at least in the short term. They might have been able to get back in there. If Iowa wins that game, they are in the mix to go to the college football playoff. And instead, they lose in that fashion. That would have been brutal. Now, I'm not enjoying a 38-17 loss, but after that fumble with 40 seconds left in the first half, and Texas A&M taking it to the 2-yard line, I was at a 99% confidence level that it wasn't going to work for Missouri that day. If you're an Iowa fan, you're watching that and going, oh my God, we're seconds away from having a signature win. Our only loss being Indiana, and who's their other loss? It was a random loss that they had. But either way, you got to win against Oregon, and your only other loss at home is Indiana. And you're in the college. They were 20th. They were ranked ahead of Missouri. That one, brutal.
I was looking up Kirk Ferentz' record against top 10. He's 12-28. If all of this reporting online is accurate, 12-28. So it's 40 times. He'd been there a long time. 40 times against a top 10 opponent, winning 12. Drinkwitz has 11 of those games, 1-10. The one win being the Ohio State, the Cotton Bowl. I don't know if you heard, Tim, they won the Cotton Bowl over the Ohio State. So if you extrapolate 40 versus 10, roughly, Drinkwitz would have about 4 out of 40 based on this math. Kirk Ferentz, not terrible, 12-28. If you think about, you're going against Ohio State, the Michigans of the world all the time. So I do think as a program, there's a little bit of a comp there where your team goes 8-4 a bunch, sometimes goes 9-3. Every once in a while might win 10 games. I think program-wise, they've done it. They've sustained it longer up there, but that's probably a comp.
Iowa lost to Iowa State in Ames.
That's right. That's what it was. Iowa State. I was thinking, I didn't think they lost another conference game. So that would have been interesting as far as them sitting there with one loss.
Right.
Well, I guess they are sitting there with one loss.
At that time, with the Oregon game. Quick thing on the Indiana-Penn State game. It drives me up the wall when teams have been playing so well defensively, and then as soon as they get like a 2-minute drill, they go into prevent defense and allow the middle of the field to be wide open. I know they had
Sounds
no timeouts.
like this is a shot at Super Bowl 36.
It's just like you've been playing. It's the same thing with basketball when you're up by like 15 with 4 minutes left and you just start dribbling it out and not playing your game. stick with what works, and you won't have that opportunity.
I really do agree with you on that.
It's crazy. Like, you might get the top taken off of you. Maybe that happens. But if it hasn't happened all game and you're confident in your defense in any regard, run your normal defense. Maybe do prevent when it's like at the 50 with 5 seconds left. Not with 2 minutes. It blows. Indiana drove down the field so effortlessly at the end there.
Yeah. It was something else. For those who are asking about the spreadsheet, it has been tweeted out from the TMA STL Twitter account. I retweeted it from what is my Gift Depot account at T. McKernan, so you can see the spreadsheet with all of these numbers on Missouri against teams who finished the season with a winning conference record. They are all there for your viewing pleasure, and if you would like to share it, that's fine. God bless. The program is called The Morning After. It's presented to you by Brown & Crouppen on 101 ESPN. Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies, 9 o'clock hour sponsor, and Mentality is a longtime sponsor of the program. It's Monday. You could be feeling a little rough, but if you've been feeling rough regularly on non-Mondays, if you have, check out Mentality at mentalityhealth.com. It could just be a case of not getting good sleep, or it could be an indication of low testosterone. Have you or your family seen a change in you? Not quite yourself anymore, struggling to focus, no energy for the people you love? This can be low testosterone. Mentality will test it for you, including free testosterone. Whether it's low energy, weight gain, or just that feeling that something is off, Mentality can help. So stop being tired of being tired. Get back to being the guy you used to be. Visit mentalityhealth.com and reserve your spot today. That's Mentality Health at mentalityhealth.com. Tim McKernan, Martin Kilcoyne with Doug Vaughn vacationing today. He's back tomorrow. Jackson Burkett on the ones and twos. Chairman Kurt manning the Callier and Thompson phone lines. This is TMA 101 ESPN.
Together Credit Union has put together special packages for you all over the years, including the Zoo debit card, the CDSC credit card, things that pay you and pay others back like the Zoo. So it's good news for you, good news for people in the community. And they've also put together a mortgage for community contributors, for teachers, firefighters, health and care, emergency medical professionals. Those benefits include low down payment, lower interest rates, no private mortgage insurance requirements at all. So if you are a community contributor, a teacher, firefighter, healthcare, emergency medical professional, look into the mortgages that are available at Together Credit Union. They are your hometown home loan provider when you do business with them. Everything is done here in St. Louis by their experienced team. The underwriting, the servicing, everything here done locally. TCU knows that the mortgages can get a little complicated. They're going to guide you through the entire process. They'll make it easy for you. Together Credit Union is available online at togethercu.org for full rates, terms, and details. Here's to making St. Louis your home. Together Credit Union, an equal housing lender and federally insured by NCUA.
This is Jackson with the Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Rockets defeat the Bucks yesterday, 122-115. Kevin Durant, timeless as ever, 31 points and 7 assists. That was another Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Interesting. We've got a pivot, Martin. The guy pivoted.
You're back.
Time to get right.
Move forward.
All right.
Time to get right with a little Warren G. Today's his birthday.
Happy birthday, Warren G. I know Nate Dogg passed away. Warren G. I'm going to go 55.
Nailed it. He's 55.
Man, I was going to say 56. And then I thought, you know what? 55's the play. 55's the play. And I know he listens in. So
he does.
It's great
Warren
to have
G.
him.
Is that name taken papers?
I think
Was he in, you guys know this era way better than I do. Was he in NWA? Was he in, or is he just...
Who are we talking about?
Warren G.
No. I believe he is a relative of Snoop Dogg, if memory serves.
Yeah. Also then of Nate Dogg.
Which would make them all related.
All the dogs. Snoop Dogg at the Sunday night football game, the Chargers-Steelers last night. They had a pretty good celeb watch, too. It's Mookie. Now I'm forgetting how they said that, but it was better than any World Series game, like the amount of stars. And years ago, Mike Martz had told me that. He said, if this team were in L.A. now with the star power, Warner, Falk, Bruce, like when they were like the it team in the NFL for a second, he said it would have been a nightmare in L.A. He said there would have just been people coming out of the woodwork like to be part of, the entourages at the game because, like the Lakers and Dodgers. Sure. It's a celeb hangout. Even the Chargers, which, by the way, was a Steelers home game. It's unbelievable. The Chargers have no shot at a fan base at all.
You think they'll stay there? You think they'll be there 10 years from now?
I think the league would like them back in San Diego, would still like to be in that market because you've already got a tenant at SoFi. It's the Rams. I still think, but I don't know where that money's going to get. The Spanos don't have the money that Kroenke has. That's the problem. But, yeah, predictionary papers.
Predictionary.
In 10 years, will the Chargers still be in L.A.?
In year 31 of the show, we won't be able to tend to this.
Okay, good stuff.
Clip that off. Martin, we just got dismissed.
Wow.
Sounds like that's not being updated. What are you doing, watching SEMO Mizzou highlights over there?
I'm digging more into Warren G. Not related to Snoop Dogg. Discovered Snoop Dogg, though, but he is the stepbrother of Dr. Dre. And then, Martin, I know you were wondering, in 2019, Warren G launched a line of barbecue sauces and rubs called Sniffin' Griffin's Barbecue.
And that's a tribute to Vianney.
I guess, yeah. Big shout out to Vianney. So there's some Warren G knowledge. What's this now, 10 years? Will the Chargers still be in L.A.? All right, I'll put that one in there.
So we'll be able to
That'll
circle
have that
back.
one right above how many hits will Burleson have or whatever.
Wow, this guy's down on Predictionary.
No, I love Predictionary.
Each week, the Fast Lane and Riz Show are battling it out in the Pick'em Challenge, but sometimes they come together to just hang out and watch some football. You can join Andrew Marsh and also Moon from the Riz Show this Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Hot Shots in Arnold. Saw that Jay Boyd. He was in here the other day from Hot Shots. Come watch the Thursday night football game. Get signed up for some Point and 101 ESPN giveaways and enjoy a cold Bud Light. That's this Thursday, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. with Andrew Marsh, Moon, and Bud Light at the Hot Shots in Arnold. You, Martin, had the car accident en route to the game on Saturday morning.
As a passenger, yes.
As a passenger, yes. That we drove by, and my wife was willing to stop and help you, whereas I said, under no circumstances will be stuck.
It looks terrible. I hope he's okay. Let's go. We got to get to the game.
Got to get there. So then I'm getting ready to leave. I think it was after A&M scored on another one of those, God only knows, touchdowns where Missouri sent everybody and said, all right, that'll do it. And everybody at that moment's heading up the ramp to head out. And my wife's good to go. My 8-year-old's good to go. But the 3-year-old, the true son, refuses to leave. He says they're still out on the field. They're still out on the field. And a fan and a father and son in front of me turn around and go, he's a true son. He's a true son. And we start talking a little bit, And we get on the topic of the kicking situation, and one of the gentlemen goes, I thought Meyer was supposed to be good. I go, well, I said, I actually looked this up, and he was rated highly by the camp that he went to, but unlike all the other kickers, which are usually rated high by 24/7 or like Chris Sale, not the pitcher, camp, or Rivals or ESPN, Robbie Meyer, that was the only place he was rated high, whatever. And they go, man, you know a lot about the kicking situation. I said, well, I did this spreadsheet a couple weeks ago on the SEC kickers.
They're like, oh, okay.
And they go, really? And I could tell now at this point they want to get away. I said, yeah,
here, I got it in the car. Yeah, walk with us.
And I go, it's kind of part of my job. And the son goes, what do you do? And I say, I host a show. I go, what do you host a show? And I said, in St. Louis on 101 ESPN. And the guy couldn't have been friendlier. I have my stocking cap on. Mm-hmm. And usually I'm wearing sunglasses and have security detail. Well, the security detail left once the game got away. Yeah. And I'm still there because the 3-year-old believes. God bless him. Mm-hmm. And the guy grabs me by both...
Your lapels?
Yes, my lapels.
Oh, God.
He goes, you're Tim McKernan. Yeah. He goes, I've been walking around Lot L looking for you because you said it was the Huntley of tailgates.
He was looking for you.
He was looking for me because he wanted to see Lot L's tailgate.
Yeah.
And I said, well, we didn't get there because this guy I work with got in a car accident and he slowed up the trip.
Good work, Martin.
God, it's good to be known for something. And there are some vehicles in the Two Fox that are unmarked.
Yeah,
that would have been nice. Would have been a good day to have an unmarked vehicle, that's for sure.
But no, in sincerity, he said he wanted to see Lot L in the tailgating. He said, "This Lot L."
Exciting.
So we got there. We drove around parking garages, and we found a spot miraculously, and it was a good walk from there to Faroe Field and sat down with about 25 minutes. Well, Martin, you walked in, right? We did, so you know when we walked in. I don't know, about 2:20, I would guess, 2:15, 2:20.
Did you go Turner or Conley?
Conley, actually.
Yeah,
nice knowledge.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You GPSing me? You private investigating me? You think I'm sleeping around on you?
I probably should have been, and you got your lapels grabbed. That's where the security...
The guy couldn't have been more of a delight. He goes, I might call in. He goes, either way, let people know that I was looking for you in Lot L. He goes, I love the shit. He goes, man, when you guys first started...
Here we go.
I go, boy, if I had a nickel for every time I heard this.
Yeah. Now, does he mean in 2004, or does he mean in October?
He actually goes, I was familiar with the show like 20 years ago, and he goes, he didn't use the term slap and tickle, but he essentially was saying slap and tickle. He goes, so when they made the move, it's kind of like, what's this? And he goes, man, you guys are some weird MFers. He goes, but now I get it. Yeah. Took a little bit for me to listen.
There's the promo.
Now I get it.
You guys are some weird MFers, but now I get it.
Yeah.
It's like a beer. You won't like it at first. Wait a week. Then wait another week. Roman would always give himself a good month leeway because he would tell people, you're not going to like my show for about a month.
It reminds me of that first month we were here and we had that gentleman call in he was like, why are you guys talking about kissing Doug? It was like he didn't really understand the program.
Well, the event Doug and I had together on Thursday night, I said, all right, Doug, when did it get so naughty? He's like, I don't know.
I don't either. I honestly don't know how that happened.
I said, when did you become the Khakied Smoke Show? And he's like, well, I still don't know, to be honest.
None of us do. I have no idea.
Weirdos.
Does Doug, listen, guys are attracted to Doug. And if I complain about it, then it makes it sound like I'm jealous. And maybe I am jealous. Maybe this is a meta play. The Dover Soul. I got to meet Tim on Saturday. Va 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 voom. Talk about a looker. It was the highlight of my weekend. That's from the Dover Soul. That did happen. I was sitting there with my family, I think at halftime. Gentleman comes up to me, and he's just kind of staring and saying, what's up? And I'm like, God, is this one of those weird spots where I know the guy, but I don't, but you never know. You know what I mean? I'm sure you've been dealing with this for 30 years because, but with television.
But you had a jersey on that said McKernan, and then on the back it said number 1.
No, that's
not
correct.
Not Alubide.
That's correct.
McKernan.
That's correct.
Number 1.
I have a jersey with 8 for the number of credit hours I have left, and then I have number 1, which is my own self-ranking. It just depends on my dad's.
What's really awkward is if somebody...
But it was the Dover Soul. Dover Soul is a pleasure.
But if somebody knows you from your neighborhood or your kid's school, and they don't know even what you do, and they're like, hey, what's up? You're like, hey, thanks for listening. Like, I'm sorry? Oh, thanks for watching. Like, oh, no, I actually go to, your kid goes to school. And like, oh, so you weren't saying, that was, I think, producer Joe, I mentioned, we brought it up once where somebody said, hey, love the show. It was a waiter. And we were leaving, so I went over. I said, excuse me. I think I followed him towards the kitchen. I said, do you mean TV or radio? Because at the time, I think I was wondering, wait, this radio thing's not really going too well. So I thought I'd better do a little this is years ago. Do a little vetting with the person who said it. But yeah, it can be awkward if they're like, hey, what's up? Or like, hey, how are you?
I know. Listen, it's always flattering, even if they're MFing me. I don't care. Thanks for listening. But yeah, you walk that fine line. But the best one was that my 3-year-old would not allow us to leave. He said, they're still on the field. And I said, all right, we'll stay. Maybe they'll come back. And that's when he got coronated a true son by a gentleman who, as it turns out, and I'd been talking to him throughout the game, was looking for me in Lot L, which, Jackson, is the Huntley of tailgating in Columbia, Missouri.
That's what I've heard.
I mean, I'm telling you.
I haven't been, but that's what I've heard.
I saw all those people pouring in, Tim and his family, just people excited. Everybody's wearing black. It's such a great setting. That's why I just wish for the Mizzou fans. And I hate when you say to a coach, what would you say to the fans? But I do feel like right now Drinkwitz has beaten the drum, got people excited, and they've won a lot of recruiting wars. They're spending money. They're fundraising. I do think for that fan base, you just deserve, nobody deserves anything, but they just deserve like at least a breakthrough win somewhere. Well, the last few years, it's just been elusive. Yes, you stack up wins, go to bowl games, but that, beating a Nebraska back in the day for Pinkel, beating Oklahoma
2003,
back
Oklahoma,
in the day,
2010.
yeah, just getting that signature type win, it has been elusive. And it's interesting because so much was riding on, I felt like Drinkwitz's status. If he beats A&M, that's going to be a huge national story. A&M knocked off. Who beat him? Oh, Mizzou. And their coach is jumping around, probably carried off the field. Whatever would have happened, his stock would have been sky high. And all those coaching searches, I don't know, we weren't sure about that Missouri guy, but I don't know. Look what they just beat it, because everybody's so fickle. These ADs, these school presidents, they're like fans. So it would have changed everything. And now you've got a Missouri fan base, at least in some sections, God, I don't know, is this guy ever going to win at Mizzou? It's just one game, albeit a game they were expected to lose. The culmination, though, of the big three, Bama, Vandy, A&M, and you lost all three. Yeah. And I don't know enough about the national perspective at Florida, LSU, Penn State, wherever, if they were ever serious and if this now changes it. If they had them third on their list and now they bump them down to sixth or whatever their rankings are. But I feel he's less likely to be offered a big-time job. But if he is offered one of these, if he's the second or third choice, he might be looking around and saying, all right, people don't really think I'm doing a good job. There's a little more noise coming out of this than there typically is for Drinkwitz.
That's correct. And I think the issue, Gabe said, I don't think if you were wanting to hire Eli Drinkwitz, what took place Sunday would change your mind. And I actually agree with this, but please follow me on this. I agree if you're the athletic director or the president or chancellor at take your pick of whatever school may have wanted to hire him or may still want to hire him, by the way. The issue, especially in 2025, is can you get this guy to the podium with your NIL supporters, boosters, and fan base on board? You might think you have the right guy. But if you're going to one of these SEC schools with openings or Happy Valley, are they going to be excited about it? That actually matters now more so than even 5 years ago because of the importance of having people and donating money to build the roster. That, to me, is the biggest issue. People might go, yeah, his record at Missouri is whatever against top teams or even teams with a winning SEC record. But people may sit there and go, yeah, he's done an incredible job at Missouri, even with that record. We believe when he gets the resources here in Auburn, Baton Rouge, Gainesville, Happy Valley, that he's going to be able to take it to another level. That's great. That may be the case. The issue for them then becomes if the boosters and the fan base isn't on board, then you're going to have issues with raising money. And right now, if I'm one of those 4 schools, I can't imagine, if I'm a fan, that he would excite me as a hire. You're welcome to give your thoughts, 314-399-9646. That's how you can text in. You can call in, 314-974-0101. Callier and Thompson phone lines. And then you've got the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat, youtube.com/TMA-STL. Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today coming up at approximately 10:45. This is TMA 101 ESPN. This is Tim McKernan. We are deep into fall now, and if you've been putting off those home improvement projects, this is your reminder. The cold weather is here, and it will continue to come on the way, and one of the smartest upgrades you can make, replacing those old drafty windows before winter hits. Universal Windows Direct is making it easier than ever to do just that. Right now, when you buy 2 windows, you get 2 free with no limit. That alone is a great deal, but it gets even better. You'll also get 36 months of 0% financing with equal monthly payments, same as cash, and a $1,000 bonus off your project. These energy-efficient windows are made to perform. Their exclusive Super Spacer technology helps seal out the cold and keep the warm air in, so you're not overpaying to heat your home through the winter months. It's Universal Windows Direct. Call 314-334-2522 or visit universalwindowsdirect.com to schedule your free estimate. Buy 2. Get 2 free. Energy savings, comfort, and serious value. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows. It's TMA 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Martin Kilcoyne with you. Doug Vaughn is vacationing. But look, it's James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency right here on the program. Morning, James.
Well, good morning, everybody.
How are you doing? Because Jackson's been playing somber songs.
It was odd. I thought there was a lack of a vibe going into the game. I thought that was the worst home crowd from a vibe standpoint all season. And I think it has a lot to do with all the silence coming out of the drink camp. This isn't apples to apples, but we've all been leaders in some capacity in our lives. And if those people we're leading have no idea, if you're going to be around or they can have a job, et cetera, here in the short term, I think that's a distraction. And I think it definitely played out on the field.
Okay, so that was, I never finished my reasons for the wide delta that I had going into the game, and we haven't talked about this part. Number one, certainly Matt Zollers. I thought it could be a monstrous upgrade from Bo Prabula with the passing game. Mm-hmm. But, of course, there's risk that he's going to be no good, and he was no good. Then there also was the mindset of the team. Are they going, yeah, we're probably done? Kirk Herbstreit brought that up. He actually mentioned Missouri. He mentioned a couple of other teams, too, teams that lost last week or their last game and how they would perform. He specifically mentioned Missouri as one of those teams because teams can check out. Might not like to hear it, but that can happen. And then what Missouri also had going on in addition to that is the coach. Yeah. And is that a distraction? Is that a distraction for the coach? Is that a distraction for the players? Is that a problem for the players? And so you think that played a role in what took place?
I think it certainly did from a buzz standpoint. Heading into a game, like you said, they hadn't hosted a top 5 team in 25 years. It didn't feel like that. Did you get that sense? Like the Bama game, that was such a great crowd. I didn't have that energy at all. Even in the parking lots before the game, it just didn't feel like there was a lot of buzz around the program, and I think that it has a lot to do with the wandering eyes, presumably by the head coach.
Do you think it has anything to do with Mizzou fans kind of assuming the worst at this point? Like, well, we're probably not going to win this game. And Bama, they're like, oh, maybe we're going to do this. We got a shot here. Whereas A&M, they're like, it's just not going to happen.
I know this is a total cash-out answer, but I do think it's both. I think you're right, Martin. I think most people are going into that because when I'm sitting there going, I think Missouri could beat this team, and I love Missouri getting 7 points. Again, knowing that they could absolutely get worked over. But my reasoning, and I don't walk out of there going, my God, A&M's a force. Now, if all you do is look at the score, then okay, be my guest. But that's not there are like 12 teams who could win the national championship, like truly 12, not just because that's the number in the college football playoff. So they could win it. But I was way more impressed by Alabama than I was by Texas A&M. God help Missouri if they would have had Matt Zollers out there against Alabama. So they had that combination. And also I thought Bo Prabula could not throw the ball, and it did turn out he was hurt. I think it probably was after the Kansas game, but Drinkwitz acknowledged that he was hurt earlier in the season, even though he didn't miss a start up until getting hurt against Vanderbilt. And I thought, okay, they're going to be in a position to beat a team that probably isn't the third best team in the country, but it's going to look really good if and when they do. And I think the vast majority of fans were going, yeah, the season's over. There's a third string quarterback. Yeah. From doing the show, I know I was in the minority on that viewpoint going in. So I think that probably contributed to it because I would agree. And people bolted early. And I don't blame them. The student section was, 50% full by the time the fourth quarter kicked off.
Yeah.
But where are you on Drinkwitz? Because
I want him to stay. I want to be very clear. I know the 0-15, that was a great spreadsheet, and I looked at that, and I'm like, ooh, maybe Jimbo Fisher. He's got 4 wins on there. But, no, I want Drinkwitz to stay.
Are you hopeful that he'll turn the corner, some of the game day decisions, but that also his teams moving forward might be able to pull it upset?
Yeah.
So you're not happy that, hey, we're going to go 8-4 every year. You're hopeful that he could be this same guy can kind of get over the hump, so to speak.
I do. No, I do feel that way. I just feel the last 2 weeks that has been a distraction. I don't think there's any way you can dispute that. And I thought, he could have easily just angled this for a nice raise, a nice contract extension. Everybody's all fired up. We got our coach for the next 10 years. And that energy, I think, would have been a lot different. At least that's just my perspective from that day.
I agree with you, specific on that point. And also, just because I'm the one who provided that information, I keep saying this, that does not mean I want them to move on or I want him to move on. But what I am presenting is he has gotten Missouri to a place where, okay, you've taken these steps to get up there, but at some point you got to beat a good team in the conference. And to date, he is 0-15. And then people go, well, yeah, but it started in 2023. Okay, well, then he's 0-8. Yeah. And unfortunately, and I'm not even including the Kansas State game that Martin astutely brings up, holy crap. I think everybody who follows the program closely goes, that was the turning point game. If you could take yourself back to that point, that was the game. It's like, okay, if they lose this, oh boy. Yep. But if they win it, they had Memphis and St. Louis the following week. They might have had another butt-ass. And then they had LSU. And you could have some real momentum going in there. So you got to get that Kansas State game, and they did. But before Mevis kicked the ball, there was a delay of game penalty. So you have that. I kind of like my opinion on Missouri being able to beat Texas A&M. I feel like I'm kind of I don't want to say voice in the wilderness. I just don't think it's getting near as much attention as it should, which is the 3rd and 10 play call of having Zollers, who's hurt, throw, which is a slow developing play too, not a quick screen on 3rd and 10. That's also self-inflicted. The play calling on the goal line against Vanderbilt, that's self-inflicted. Not getting the ball in the hands of Hardy and Roberts Moore against Alabama, that's self-inflicted. You've had bye weeks going into A&M last year, Alabama this year, A&M this year, and these are the game plans you roll out? Right. But that doesn't mean fire him. You see, there's nuance. You don't just see something you don't like and fire people. Clark Lee, in my spreadsheet research, an absolute dumpster fire. I don't know how many people are even paying attention to Vanderbilt football, but he's been there since 2021. Clark Lee was 2-10 in year 1, 5-7 in year 2, 2-10 in year 3. That would usually be, okay, we're going to whack the guy. They stick around with him, and now Clark Lee, who knows? I mean, he's either going to be a god in Nashville or he's going to go to one of the most glamorous programs in college football. I am all for programs giving people time, but I also have a responsibility to dig into the numbers and go, okay, this isn't a real positive indication. And so if you're going to sit there and tell me about 10-win seasons, I'm going to look into who the teams are that they've beaten to get to these 10 wins. And when you get that, it adds a little context. And when you look at the losses against the great teams and you see some self-inflicted wounds, whether it be on coaching or decisions made by one of your underlings in the coaching staff, that's a problem that reflects on the CEO. And the CEO of the program is Eli Drinkwitz.
And I think the issues with Kirby Moore and the play calling that have been brought up several times, it goes back to, as Tim's saying, that goes back to Drinkwitz. And I don't know. I think they're pretty tight, those two, Kirby Moore and Eli Drinkwitz. But I think there's going to be, if Drinkwitz is staying, I don't know if that involves an extension. You can laugh and say, what? But that's kind of the climate we're in college sports. Is he going to look to make a change there? It's big-time sports. I think that's a topic that has to be discussed. If I'm Laird Veach, I think I'm sitting in the room saying, all right, what are we doing here? It seems because when this season ends, or maybe before it ends, keep an eye on Marquise Johnson, Olugbide, all these guys who've got to be fans are frustrated with the offense. How'd you like to be a premier receiver that's not getting the ball at all?
Marquise Johnson got practically benched on Saturday.
Yes, that's correct. Speedy Keith's nowhere to be found for most of that game.
And then Coleman, who came here for 1 year, but you thought he'd put up bigger numbers.
I mean, he had a great September. What's interesting is on Power Mizzou, and again, take this with a grain of salt, but one of the posters said that from inside the room, they were hanging out with a player's parents, is that Drinkwitz has been calling the plays full time for the last few games. I mean, and a few other people seem to corroborate that on the post exchange. So if that's true, then I think there is some severance between that relationship and him and Kirby Moore, but it certainly hasn't been any improvement. And with Matt Zollers, I haven't played any high-level football in my life, which is great for sports talk radio, I'm sure. But
it's actually required.
You put Matt Zollers in there in the middle of the Vanderbilt game playing some backyard football, you look great. It's kind of like if I gave Tim a live read and just gave him some bullet points versus a whole script. Tim's going to run with it just with some bullet. Maybe, did they give him too much in this bye week? I mean, he looked like a completely different player.
Totally different guy. Couldn't agree more. They don't throw it over the middle. I would have liked to see him roll them out and just have some tight end screens just to kind of get him comfortable. Yeah. Screens in general. I mean, that's how A&M did it. A&M wasn't throwing the ball downfield. That's a guy who's in the mix for the Heisman Trophy.
I mean, they were methodical.
Who started plenty of games for A&M last year, much less a true freshman. I don't know what to say. But again, where Missouri is in especially 2023, 2024, and 2025, when you look at that building, and I know you've been going there plenty of times, versus where it was in 16, 17, 18,
night and day.
19, there is momentum. So I'm not saying fire him. I'm just trying to add context to the situation, because I don't excuse away things by going, well, A&M's got more talent. Okay. Alabama had more talent, too, 3-point game. Did that mean Florida State's got more talent than Alabama, the same Florida State team that got worked over by multiple teams in the SEC or ACC? Things happen when you execute properly and you have great game plans and you don't commit self-inflicted wounds. James Carlton's online at carltoninsurance.net, 314-961-4800, 314-961-4800, 455-star reviews, and you made magic with Jamie Rivers. He'll be forever indebted.
Yeah, on that note, real quick, when you do is it the Howard Stern, like, let me tell you something, like,
I like
get
that.
real quiet, and I want the audience to, let me tell you something.
I like this, Martin.
We are in the midst of the biggest rate decrease in my 18-year career. If you haven't,
really?
Yeah, and it's November 15th is the effective date. If you haven't gotten a quote from our office in quite some time, I implore you and your family to do so. There are meaningful savings, though. That's what I want to leave the audience
that's
with.
Good. That's breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news there.
314-961-4800. Go online at carltoninsurance.net. Thanks, James.
See you guys.
That's James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. It is Seth Goldcamp's birthday today. Design Air Heating and Cooling, and that is the sponsor of our email today, the morning after at InsideSTL.com, DesignAirService.com. That's coming up at 10:45. This is TMA 101 ESPN.
Hey, St. Louis, the countdown to Thanksgiving is on, and our friends over at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill are teaming up with Coca-Cola to support Operation Food Search. Now through November 21st, you can drop off non-perishable food items at any Lee's or Hot Shots to help families in need right here in St. Louis. There's a lot of locations between Lee's and Hot Shots. All you got to do is bring non-perishable food items to help out our community and those less fortunate around the holidays. This is a perfect time to do it. Help out those who are less fortunate. And if you donate, you'll get a free Coca-Cola beverage plus a chance to win gift cards and hockey tickets. Give back, feel good, and make a difference this Thanksgiving season with our friends at Lee's, Hot Shots, and Coca-Cola. Again, now through November 21st, drop off a non-perishable food item at any of the Lee's or Hot Shots to help families in need right here in St. Louis.
What we got going on here now, Papers?
This is the Ecstasy of Gold from the Good, Bad, and the Ugly soundtrack. Today would have been Ennio Morricone's 96th birthday. He passed away in 2020.
He did the Mission soundtrack, I believe. You ever seen that movie?
I have never seen the Mission.
Robert De Niro?
One of the all-time greats in terms of iconic scores.
They would play this before we would start the World Series of Poker main event.
Really?
This was the... but I figured you weren't aware of that, and this was probably a famous score.
Yeah. A few, the Modelo ads use this all the time.
Yes.
I assume the estate of Morricone is doing real good. I would hope.
A handsome payout for you being able to use this?
I mean, Model's been using it 15 years on top of, its early 1966 release.
They play this before every Metallica concert. Yes! That's from The Big Show. Is that why you played it, Jackson?
No, again, today would have been 96th birthday for Mr. Morricone.
Stephen Time is giving you a 9.2 out of 10 on your return music today.
Oh, that's nice. It's pretty good.
Mr. Licks wants to know how you want to handle the bet because you bet him $50 that Missouri would win 2 games.
No, first of all, what happened, and this needs to be said, what Mr. Lick says is Missouri will not win another game. I said, would you like to bet on it? And immediately when pressed about with money, he said, okay, over-under is 1. So I did agree to that bet, and they have won the 1 game, so we're currently at a push.
Right.
3 more games to go.
Has he sent you the $50?
He did, for whatever reason.
But
I don't
he's
know
saying
why.
he wants it back because he's believing that you will end up with
That's
a
fine.
push.
But
let's wait and see.
If they don't win another game, I'll send him the $50 back.
Well, what would that look like? They just kind of tanked.
That would be fine. No, it wouldn't be fine, but in terms of the bet, I would send him the money back. It's totally cool with me. But the idea that that I bet him I bet him that they would not win another game, and he was wrong already on that. But I agreed to it. So that's the genesis of all this.
Do you feel like you should send him the $50 because in this 3 weeks' time he could probably turn that $50 into $5 million with his investment strategies?
If the difference between him making that money is me sending back that $50, he should never have it in the first place.
Now you're going after his private equity.
Yeah, well, that won't be the first private equity I'll go after.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Didn't know that was one of your things. I didn't know that was a kink.
Snatching chains.
Now, we notice texters sometimes will send the exact same text, multiple.
That's right.
But I got to give Hal in Hillsborough credit because he has changed. It's the same theme, but he's written it differently a couple times. Who cares about that dude's birthday? Today is the 50th anniversary of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Was that Gordon Lightfoot?
I played that song like a week or two ago.
The bell chimed 29 times for the sons and the wives and the daughters.
Did you say who cares about Morricone's birthday?
That's what he said.
Kick rocks.
He really wanted you to acknowledge that it's the 50th anniversary of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Especially with my some perceived anti-Italian 7 o'clock hour.
I can play the audio back for you if somebody teaches me how to play audio.
But here I am championing Italian artist, a legendary Italian artist. So who's to say, where are those haters
But
now?
I mean, could that have been your PR firm instructing you to play only Italian artists returning from break so that my wife and her family and many of our great friends on the Hill don't come after you and ask for, demand an apology on, again, Twitter, please.
No, that would be...
using the Notes app.
No, that would be inconsistent with my public itinerary on every day where I do talk to that PR firm. Immediately after the show, I do some correspondence with them. They give me a little wrap up, and yeah.
Yeah. Are we doing drops on the show anymore? Only on days when Charcoal's in a good mood. That's from Big Tough.
It's sometimes tough to play drops in the midst of somewhat serious sports conversation. It's tough for Tim to do his thing with the spreadsheets, then me play
That's right.
Frank, Big Johnson, Little Ego or something, whatever it was. It's all about time and place and picking your spots. And Monday is a big chop it up sports day. So
the tone was a little more real journalism today.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Real sports Mondays on TMA.
Second Bundesliga.
How about that?
Yes, I'm a gentleman. I prefer a man to rub me down.
Producer Joe, here you go.
Thank you. Thank you for the delicious fries.
I'll tell you what, I'm excited for this Brewers series.
Charlie Marlowe, AI, but in studio on Friday.
And got a great reaction from folks.
Of course. A delight.
People were fired up to see Chuck, as were we.
Licks needs the money back because daddy-in-law lost a lot on the Mizzou Texas A&M under. That's from the Warson Woods Wacko. So now that you know that he needs the money, can you get him that $50 back?
No, I didn't. He shouldn't have sent it in the first place. I don't know why he did. We were at a push. He sent the money. I didn't get it. It's not like I stole it.
Hey, Jackson, fun fact. My wife's uncle was Ray Liotta. Thanks. It's from Bricklebottom.
No way. Wife's uncle was Ray Liotta?
Yep.
Wow. Rest in peace, a legend. That's incredible. That's touches of greatness right there, Martin.
I often quote Ray Liotta. Was it the word rhymes with bucko?
Yeah.
When I'm in the car?
I think it was actually the guy who he ended up hitting. He said, "You want some blank?"
Right.
And then Ray Liotta pretends to beat the hell out of him with the butt of a pistol.
Some of this?
And Lorraine Bracco not turned off in the slightest by it. In fact, turned on by being handed the bloody gun. Spoiler alert.
I'm just going to let it breathe.
I was just thinking of Ray Liotta.
What's that?
I was just thinking about Ray Liotta, like different characters, scenes.
It's a shame he never worked with Scorsese again after Goodfellas.
What was it? The Jeff Daniels movie? He was the bad guy in that, like a psycho. And he throws a chair through like the sliding glass door. Was it After Hours?
Was it Something Wild?
Yeah, Something Wild with Melanie Griffith. Have you seen that, Papers? Oh, wow.
It needs to be on Movie Boy. What was on Movie Boy this weekend?
Begonia and the House of Dynamite.
And this was Gareth.
Yeah, this one was Gareth. The fun one this week, Marshy Marsh gets back in the co-host spot. We talk about The Running Man, the reimagining of the 1987 movie with Glenn Powell.
And Richard Dawson.
Richard Dawson in the 87 version, 2025. The great Glenn Powell.
That's correct. All right, email in the morning after at InsideSTL.com for our Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. That is coming up at approximately 10:45 on the program. Doug's vacationing the Hamptons. He welcomes you to call in via the Collier and Thompson phone lines. Take a listen.
This is what Doug Vaughn sounds like.
Have you lived in the same home for 10, 15 years or more and never really done a complete home remodel? If it's time for an interior home remodeling job, don't make the mistake many others have made. Let Collier & Thompson do it the right way the first time. You'll have a new kitchen, bathroom, man cave, or any other type of remodel that will last you a lifetime. They can refinish the basement. They can knock out a wall on that lower level to open up the house. They can do it all, and they've been doing it since the 1950s. It's hard to know who you can trust to be in your home, who's going to be there to back up the work. Collier & Thompson stands behind every job that they do, and during the process, they are always available for you. You want to make some last-minute changes, they're right there to get it done. The Collier & Thompson team cares about the work they produce. For them, it's more than just a job. They take great pride in the work that they produce. Their technicians have been around. They have a combined 165 years of experience with all of their people. Collier & Thompson on Manchester and Baldwin, next to Uncle Bill's Pancake House. Come home to quality online at CollierandThompson.com.
There it is. Collier & Thompson sponsor the phone lines, 314-974-0101. We'll have the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today coming up. It's TMA 101 ESPN. Has your car's warranty expired or is about to expire? When cars break, it's always a surprise. That's where Atlas Vehicle Pro can help you out. They're online at atlasvehiclepro.com. Fixing cars is not something most people can do in their backyard anymore. Dealership labor rates average nearly $200 an hour. The average repair costs over $1,500, while major repairs can run $3,000 to $5,000. With Atlas coverage, you simply hand over your ID card, not a blank check. Atlas is your roadmap to vehicle protection. Learn more at atlasvehiclepro.com. atlasvehiclepro.com or call 314-720-5990 and let them know you're a TMA listeners and you get $400 off their quote. 314-720-5990. Let them know you are a TMA listener and get $400 off their quote. Learn more at atlasvehiclepro.com.
Hey, this is Jackson with the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues hockey tomorrow evening right here on your home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. Blues and Flames, pregame at 6, puck drop at 7. That was another Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
All right, Jackson's starting to feel momentum now, Martin.
I wish I could scowl like Clint Eastwood.
Almost with a squint, too.
Nice. One of the best.
Would you be intimidated even now? Was he 90?
Like Clint Eastwood, yeah. He still makes movies. Yeah. He's more prolific than ever.
How about that?
In his 90s.
And what do you think of $1 Million Baby is Best Picture?
Oof.
Yep, there you go, Martin.
Oof.
Not a fan?
Ugh, faceplant.
Faceplant by the Academy?
Everybody involved.
They did a faceplant?
Everybody involved.
What was the Get Off My Lawn movie?
Gran Torino.
Good movie?
Ooh. It's not my favorite of Clint's.
Wow.
It's not my favorite.
Well, what are your favorite? You
Good, Bad, and the Ugly is way up there.
Okay.
Fistful of Dollars, Dirty Harry. I liked his movie last year, Juror Number 2. It's really good. Mystic River. Escape from Alcatraz is probably bad.
Mystic River, Bee's Knees.
Yeah, Sean Penn in that one.
Mystic River, Bee's Knees. Martin, have you seen Mystic River?
Yes. Boston?
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting some of the details.
That's my daughter.
Is Affleck in that one or no?
No. You're thinking of Gone
Kevin
Girl.
Bacon is in it. Tim Robbins is in it.
Sean Penn.
Sean
Laura
Penn
Linney.
is in it. Laura Linney.
Lawrence Fishburne. Escape from Alcatraz is probably my favorite, though. I love a prison escape movie. Especially
Who
Alcatraz.
doesn't?
Well, I had been to Alcatraz and then saw the movie like a few years later, and so it was very special to me. Alcatraz is a really cool place to visit.
I have been as well.
That
Martin,
is a
have you been
cool
to
deal.
Alcatraz?
I have, yeah.
There you go.
Did a little tour. My mom and my brother and I did a little tour. We
Isn't
were out
that
there for a
cool?
wedding. It is kind of cool. Are they still doing those?
I think so. Oh, yeah.
And then they play, you do the walking tour
With like
with
a
the headset.
headset. Yeah.
Robert, the Birdman Bird, who murdered 48 people, lived in this cell. And you're like,
Machine Gun Kelly, all those guys.
Jackson, Mr. Siders, who you had a chance to spend 4 hours on a golf course with, has been listening to the show for all 4 hours today, complaining about the show, and just wrote in to surprised we haven't talked about how Mizzou can still make the playoffs today. You still got time, boys.
Bye.
It was a big game, worthy of a breakdown. I did say last week it'll be the last big sporting event we've got the calendar year. Well, I mean, bragging rights in Kansas are big games, non-conference games.
Clearly not big enough.
In terms of the magnitude, I said this was the last big moment of 2025. I stand by that.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, fellas.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah, and that also adds to the sense of staring into the abyss. So, Martin, you're taking a picture of Jackson staring out the window looking at traffic.
I wanted to tweet that out.
I see two big games in the year 2025, year of our Lord.
Minnesota Showdown?
No. Well, I'm not even going to include that, even though I could.
Are you talking about basketball?
Clem Haskins.
Yes, I'm
Mizzou
talking
basketball?
about basketball.
Yeah, but it doesn't have them. I mean, it'll be fun. They're big games. It's nice if you beat Illinois. Bragging rights is Kansas, of course. Play that bright side. Whatever. Okay. But it's not going to have the magnitude of a game that could get you potentially into the college football
I agree with
playoff.
that, but doesn't mean that it should be
Life
poo-pooed.
isn't over. There's some big Blues games, I'm sure, ahead. And SEMO's going to knock somebody off. They're scrappy. I'm sure there's other great sports.
How about this? Iggy is in the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat, and he correctly points out that Gobble Bowl is in 2 weeks.
There you go.
Thank you.
There
Three.
it is.
I got three big events. I count three.
Take it all back.
Thank you.
I want to see that Jeremiah Love get on a roll again. He had another great touchdown run. I think he's 9th or 10th in some of the Heisman odds right now. He's not going to win, but pretty cool for Notre Dame to have the CBC kid running the rock from after having a Vianney kid running the rock for a while.
MCC, Fighting Irish. We got the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day coming up here on the program. Here's a super cut, though, before we get to that, of the Colonel Martin navigating the phone lines on Saturday night in the postgame show.
Hey, Gabe. Calling in again. Saw a bunch of guys with their shirts off, waving their shirts. Didn't see you in the crowd and want to know where you were at. Bye.
I was in the press box, fully dressed, but appreciate it.
Hey, Gabe. I just slashed Kirby's tires. Hopefully that sends him a message to get the fuck out of Columbia. And I just hit some ass. Have a good night. MIZ.
Eli Drinkwitz needs to leave immediately, and TMA should live forever.
Okay, so let's just have the drink conversation. I know he's here somewhere.
Long-time listener, first-time caller, P from Chesterfield, $32,000 a year, 4.5 inches soft, 3 times divorced. Let me tell you, that was one of the worst performances I've ever seen. That's pathetic.
Hey, Gabe. About time Marquise Johnson got his ass sent to the bench. Speaking of ass, for my 34th birthday.
Okay, okay. Well, I don't want to know where it was going.
Gabe. Eric Link is a domestic terrorist.
We're getting out of hand.
Hi, Gabe. I thought that was actually a pretty competitive game, except for a few plays.
This is brutal.
The Colonel.
This is brutal.
I said to my wife as we were driving home, I said, boy, the Colonel, because I already knew I was on the receiving end of it from the Colonel in a text. I'm like, this is not going to go well. It actually somehow, I think, was more peaceful than he had anticipated. Libby Jackie DiCaprio, who used to have a Vanderbilt avatar.
Yeah, what's he now?
Then he had
Bulldogs.
Texas A&M. Now he's a Mississippi State avatar.
He's consistent, if nothing else.
He says, I was listening to Gabe live, and it was great. Tip of the cap to Libby Jackie DiCaprio.
I did hear the beginning. Gabe was there alone before Cody gets there, and he was breaking it down. He said this happens every week. On Saturday, we hate the team. We're never going to win again. Sunday, we're still sulking. By Monday, like, all right, who's next? By Wednesday, you've talked yourself into a win the next week.
Yep. Rinse and repeat, baby. I plan on doing that for 70 more years.
And you're happy about it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
100%.
I love it, man.
Yeah, this is
it's the best. And now that my family loves it, it's the greatest thing ever.
It's the life we've chosen.
I cannot get enough college football. I wish I could find like an NFL team to have. I just can't. I can't.
Sunday is
our team, the Chiefs. Our team.
Hard pass. Sundays are just it's Diet Cola
it's Diet Cola, Martin.
From Saturday, which is just drinking kerosene.
Drinking kerosene. This paper's on fire. All right, it's time for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. Is this really it? Is this as good as it gets? Mizzou pisses themselves in another big game like they are J students firing a question at Norm Stewart while the Blues determined that the way to avoid their 6-on-5 issues is to have the goalie firing shots like he's Slobo. Our true son flees the football stadium in order to be in a comfort of his field goal shower while Tiger sports reporters destroy all the traffic headed to Columbia. Worst of all, most listeners didn't get their last-minute wedding invite, so no dollar dance with Doug. I've said it 1,000 times. Everything sucks! That is why when Jackson says to lean into the stink, I say, how high? Shooter McGavin, the vice president of the anti-Antlers, we will start jeering at the Antlers at the Illinois game.
I'll be there with you.
Doug's not there, but I don't care because I want to mess up Martin's hair. We could make love all night long, bumping bellies to Barry White songs. That's from Potty Mouth Midge.
Now, did Midge add Potty Mouth? Because last week I believe there was just Midge.
Potty Mouth is new.
Yeah, okay. Potty Mouth Midge.
Lauren, just wanted to let everyone know that today marks the 6-month anniversary that makes me more uncomfortable than Rockio being forced to read an ad for a golf tournament promo where the putting green is quote-unquote free. This infamous day is known as the Lee's Fried Chicken Mother's Day Foot Rub Proclamation. Oh, we have a new sponsor and they want me to cut a promo that ties Mother's Day with fried chicken. No problem. It haunts me. It absolutely haunts me and my family to the point where I can no longer even look at my mother. Between the chicken ad and hating dogs, I'm done. I mean, of course I won't pet your dog, but let me pet my mother's hooves. Love me, that's from The Need for Seed. Weird. Jackson, I didn't know it was the 6-month anniversary.
I don't necessarily keep like a calendar of such events, but that makes sense.
Spotlight, not kickoff. Danny storms the sacred grass, hero of his tale. Until next time, that's from the TMA Troubadour.
Is it a haiku?
What a word count limit today?
I just read what's on the prompter. And finally, in the 1999 film Office Space, Peter Gibbons, played by the delectable Ron Livingston, told his occupational hypnotherapist, Dr. Swanson, that every single day of his life has been worse than the day before it. So that means that every single day that he sees him, that's on the worst day of his life. And then Dr. Swanson replied, "What about today? Is today the worst day of your life?" And Peter replied, "Yeah," which elicited a response of, "Wow, that's messed up." That's how I feel about local sports. Every weekend is the worst sports weekend, and every Monday morning is the worst morning of our sports lives. It's cold. The Blues lost after surrendering a last-second 6-on-5 goal. Mizzou's football season is over after Matt Zollers failed to, quote, show out against Texas A&M. Martin's 2 Fox vehicle was involved in a car accident that caused a traffic jam for many traveling to the game. Libby Jack was in Columbia but didn't even bother going to the football game because he was still reeling from witnessing Mizzou hoops almost lose to SEMO. Tim pissed away another Sunday creating spreadsheets illustrating Eli Drinkwitz's damning record against winning SEC teams, as if there's anything we can do with this iteration, since most people are hoping the well-paid coach who can't win the big one sticks around another year, when we'll be sitting here again talking about the same things. That's from Buck Swope, DBA, the Recess Ladies Breast, and Martin. That's what we have for our Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. The question is, what you got?
Shooter McGavin, Potty Mouth Midge, Need for Speed, TMA Troubadour, and then Buck Swope. I enjoyed a good slow-bo reference.
Yeah, that was nice. Steamers.
I kind of like that. Somebody wanted to mess up my hair. That's already taken care of. Lee's chicken references. And I'll go Shooter McGavin.
Martin incorrectly identified this person. It was the Need for Seed, and they get my vote.
Chairman Kurt.
I, too, liked the Need for Seed.
Right. The Need for Seed has won the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day. What a nice W for Seed. Time for us to shut it down.
Mr. Seed.
This one's for you, Seed.
BK and Ferrario are up next. For Jackson Burkett, for Chairman Kurt, for Martin Kilcoyne, for my brother Kevin, for the vacationing Douglas Elvin Vaughn. I'm Tim McKernan. This has been The Morning After, presented by Brown & Crouppen on 101 ESPN and the TMA YouTube channel.